I'm not kidding when I say that. That was easily the longest we've ever done. 47 minutes. Insane. But now the real show happens, and maybe it'll go a little shorter. I don't know. I don't want to make any promises I can't keep.
Yeah, by the way, on the show notes, we don't have to...
Yeah, we probably won't go through every single...
Yeah, okay. I realize it looks like a lot just in case.
Yeah. No, I think this is good, though.
We'll go short, and there's like 5 pages of...
I think GDC is always interesting, so I'm happy to cherry pick on that. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, here we go then. It's the show, and it starts in 3, 2, 1. Oh, I did it wrong. Sorry, it has an intro. Sorry, I totally spaced it. Here it is. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Oh.
What's going on? Hold on, sorry. Totally effed that up. Hi, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Core. This is Core for Friday, March 25th, 2022. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. We're a day later. John was ill, but he's feeling way better, right, John? You're good?
Yeah. The Elden Ring has been restored to its proper power and authority.
Thank goodness. Thank freaking goodness.
Yeah, I think we figured out how we're tarnished.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, what? Tell me more. How are we tarnished? Because of his guts?
From that sound clip at the top.
Oh. Yeah.
Don't make me explain it. You'll have to cut some stuff out, probably.
This guy right here. Oh. Why does he do that?
Please, do that elsewhere.
It is one of my favorite line readings of anything ever. That guy is so into it. That whole run and build is just so good, especially when he gets to the loathsome dung eater.
It's really something. I looked him up. He's an interesting dude with a weird resume, and I've never heard anything quite like this. They must have really said, "Hey man, go for it. Just go nuts. Do what you feel." And he did. And so are we.
Right up there with the Witcher 3 guy. The guy at the beginning of that.
Yeah.
I must not forget about the horrors. The guy who just gets tired during his monologue in the intro of Witcher 3. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It sounds like he just gets winded in the middle of it. He just goes so hard, and I really respect people who do that for their intro.
Oh, well, good news, by the way.
You think that guy got it first take?
Oh, I don't know. It feels like
maybe... we need more orgasm.
Yeah, more orgasm.
This time, try it again, but with a little more Captain Kirk in space.
Yeah. He's it's a little like this.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, no, it's not.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get to this week's news. And
Kirk is voice acting Elden Ring too.
Yeah, I'd pay for that. Here's this bit. Okay, so lots to talk about. Let's rip through some GDC stuff because I think this is kind of interesting, and then we'll get to all the other news. Also, we're not going to talk about the umpteenth freaking Blizzard sexual harassment suit that happened today. Not because it isn't important, but because you already know how we feel about this. And every time a new one pops up, I'm like, yeah, I know. Hurry up. If you want the stain out of this carpet, you got to expose the whole room. All right, so do that. That's fine. Get all the room out. Let's look under the couches. Open up the furniture. Move that love seat. Let's see what's behind there, and then clean that shit out. Microsoft, you do your part. Oh, the good news, Microsoft said they're not going to interfere with any efforts by Activision Blizzard to organize or to start working toward what's that called? What's my brain? Unionization. So they're not going to interfere with any of that. So that's a really good thing. They've said it, officially said it. So there's that. Anyway, that's all we're going to say about Blizzard stuff this week. Instead, GDC happened. Normally, my daughter's job at the university means she'd be going to that, but this year was still slightly sketchy due to the pandemic, so they only sent a few people. She didn't go. But that's usually my in on some inside dirty stuff or find out what's going on or who did what at what conference and all this sort of thing. But we did get some stuff. For example, some interesting stats in a GDC talk according to industry analyst Piers Harding-Rolls. I love a good hard roll.
Sounds yes.
You're gonna rolls.
Yeah,
Rolls Harding.
Rolls Harding.
He sounds like a chocolatier.
It kind of does. Like one of the Disney creative chocolatier folks. Anyway, he says he doesn't works for a marketing firm called Ampere Analytics, or Analysis rather. Analsys. Geez, Scott. Reported by PC Gamer, the Netflix of games concept that everybody's been talking about for the last couple of years, he says, is unlikely to become an actual thing. Subscriptions currently account for only 4% of the total games market, projected to be 8% by 2027. I'll keep moving because I actually have thought about that, but I'll mention this next thing. The success of Game Pass, again, according to this dude, is attributed primarily to the newness of the games available on it. I would agree with that. I think Game Pass is not nearly as valuable or as important or as high in the minds of gamers right now if you weren't putting big games, small games, and everything in between out. And if it was just like back catalog stuff, nobody would care. Nobody would care.
Yeah, I think you can only go two directions with a subscription service. You either have to be new to where people feel like they're getting the newest thing that's coming out, like what Game Pass does, or you would have to be a company like Nintendo with a deep enough back catalog that subscription could feel worthwhile. Even then, Nintendo would have to allow for vastly more access to their old library than what they currently do in their offerings. But I feel like when we talk about, it would have to be new stuff, I feel like there are a few companies out there that could get away with it if they were going to do just back catalog things. But you would have to be a Nintendo or, maybe a Sega. But
yeah,
I think you have to have that like big breadth of history to be able to pull that off. Because I think even things like Atari wouldn't be able to.
I totally agree. I think Nintendo might be the only example that it could pull it off. I don't even think Sony could unless they were going to count, again, new stuff. And if they did that, which they may do soon, by the way, that's those rumors are still brewing today, then we'll see. But yeah, I feel like Nintendo's the only one that could kind of get away with that as an entire service. I don't know if I agree with the idea of like unlikely to become a thing. I don't think anyone expects it to be quote unquote a thing. And by thing, they mean vastly popular until it is, because back in 2006-07, I remember everybody was naysaying Netflix's plans. They were like, what? Nope. Nobody has broadband, or not enough people do. They all have caps. So this isn't going to work. They don't have the content, not enough movies, blah, 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 all this stuff. Of course you'd say that when it was new and not quite all out there yet. Now you would be laughed out of the room for thinking otherwise. It did succeed wildly. And I'm not saying that this is 100% guaranteed to succeed in those same ways, but I think there's more to be done. It isn't just we're not there because we're not there.
Yeah, and we don't have it in our news today, but one of the things that came up, I think today, is that Microsoft has invested a bunch in cloud-based gaming. Like a company, I don't remember the details, but I remember reading a bit of the article that they are investing in like cloud services first gaming, which sort of means you're not buying an executable to install on your system. It's a game whereby you only play via cloud. You'll be playing on a remote machine. Yeah. That'll for sure be on a Game Pass. And then you'll have to, just like you kind of have to go to Netflix now to stream. You still have buying options, I guess, but it's conceivable that your only option is to stream. Well, like a Netflix exclusive from Netflix. So if you want the Netflix or Prime exclusives, you have to have the streaming, the sub for it.
Right.
So if Microsoft corners the market on cloud first gaming and their hot properties, then this conversation, it's exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Then everyone needs to buy Elden Ring, and Elden Ring 15 is only available on cloud.
Right. Which sounds insane to some people's ears right now. I know it does. It does to mine. But I'm telling you, this is all heading this way, whether you like it or not.
Everything sounded, insane before it became a thing, right?
Yeah, all of it does. In this particular case,
they thought Galileo was crazy.
Yeah, and he had his moments, but he was right about a lot of stuff. But didn't he also have like two wieners or something? Or I'm thinking of somebody else. One of the famous like scientist explorer types.
The problem with that is I don't know who you're thinking of.
I thought there was
I got nothing.
Who am I thinking
the guy
of?
with two wieners.
They must have done something pretty famous to be more well known for whatever that is than having two wieners, because that's pretty impressive.
Or was it
Galileo showed that the world was round? that the Earth was people believe Earth was the God ordained Earth the center of the universe and everything revolved around it until he was like, "Hey, we're revolving around the sun." They would die, heretic.
Chat room says I'm thinking of Alan Tudyk. No, I'm not. I am definitely not thinking of old Alan Tudyk from the 1300s. No, Bo's right, and his contributions, especially at that time, are enormous. And he was persecuted and chased and treated like garbage for it. And so I don't want to belittle anybody, but it seems like Newton or somebody had like its second ween.
I don't want to Google who's the one that had.
I know. Rasputin had had enough ween for, you could say, 6 wieners. Like they've preserved it and pickled it.
Whoa, really?
It's an artifact. If you rub it, it grants you a wish, I think.
Shut up.
But no. Rasputin's dong is like an actual pickled thing. It's a real artifact. It was massive. I don't know if you've seen The King's Man yet, but they do.
I found it. Is this real?
It's real. Rasputin had a gigantic dong.
Okay,
and that was part of his cult, part of his cult legend, anyways. Like that, it was magical.
Okay,
that's why it's preserved.
Yeah,
it's enormous.
I put it in the thing there.
That's the pickled, shriveled version of it. Non-erectus.
I don't even want to know about this.
It looks about as big as my forearm.
It was. By the way, it's funny you brought him up. 100 years ago, he was beaten to death. 100 years. Yeah. And I assume they cut it off then and took it. I don't know.
Yeah. Imagine humanity said, like, that guy's dong, we need to hold on to it.
Yeah. Hang on.
Like that. That's our history.
Yeah.
As a collective, we said, that dong might be magic. Put it in a jar and hold on to it for a while.
We need to save this. It was the video game preservation argument 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Chat room's like 3 or 4 people all said, cap John's face right now. Capture the face John's making right now. Because this went places and John, I don't think was expecting it.
But anyways, yeah, we're way off the beaten path.
So anyway, we'll see. The other interesting thing is, according to data, 79% of game spending in 2021, so just last year, calendar year, came from in-game transactions in free-to-play and paid games. Kind of behavior that does not exist in Netflix or Spotify, although it does exist for Apple with Apple Plus. It also exists for Amazon with Prime, where you can both rent, buy, and stream a catalog. But again, it's nothing like what we do with games. I wonder how much of that 79% is mobile. Probably a lot, if I had to guess.
Yeah, they said it came from in-game transactions and free-to-play. Oh, it doesn't say mobile.
It doesn't say mobile, but it's
for sure
just got to be.
He's talking broadly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but again, it's not on our list, but Tencent posted record sales this year. They have tons of these mobile games. Like, a lot of the money is coming from the Lost Arks of the world, and I did my essay on Lost Ark last week.
Oh yeah, you're done. Lost Ark and you have parted ways.
It's a variation on the same thing. Like, Lost Ark is not unique in this Chef Ramsay shits on your food gaming sales model.
Did we talk about him last week too? Why does that come? Am I right to remember that?
Yeah, it was last week.
Okay.
It was last week. I had a dream about it. Someone on Twitter was like, I think you dreamt about homeless people pooing because of what Bo said on Core.
Yeah, that might have been it. I had a dream about the dream was, if you had, okay, I'll do it to you guys. I did it to Brian. I'll do it to you. Because it's a dream in the form of a question. If you could have everything in the world you'd ever want, money is zero object at all. You could have as many private jets as you wanted, as many fastest cars in the world, all of it. Everything's paid for all the time. It means nothing. Biggest houses, biggest everything. You just don't have to pay for anything or really worry about anything. But every meal you have, every food you eat, not just meal, but any food you eat, a bag of crackers, it doesn't matter. All of it has 20%, I think was the number, hobo diarrhea in it. All right. Now, when I say hobo, I'm not saying homeless, and I'm not throwing shade in that direction. I'm talking like mythical hobo, like they're on the train, they're doing this on purpose, they got a little bindle, and inside there are some stones. He says do magic shit and things like that. A true traditional hobo type.
Mythical hobo.
A mythical hobo.
That's a great subclass in D&D.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But if that guy, so everything had at least 20% of whatever food you eat will have hobo diarrhea in it. Are you going to do it? For the rest of your life?
I think so. I think there's ways of overpower. If it's 20% poo,
Yeah.
I think the other 80% in spice can probably handle it.
All right.
Yeah. And you process it nice and good, mix it up with some, I don't know.
I feel, now it just hit me. John is getting over like a stomach bug from the last couple of days.
Yes,
and
you guys are really letting me ease back into this. Stare at a pickled penis for the entire show. And now let's talk about eating diarrhea. How's that stomach bug going, John? Well, I'll know if I'm over it by the end of this show.
Yeah, you'll know. Hey, this is a real test. Actually, I'm going to delete that penis. It's not there anymore.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It.
All right,
it's a great show title. Delete that penis.
Delete that penis quick before the boss sees. Anyways, moving on. They talked a little bit about Azure. Microsoft did at this thing. They talked about offering a suite of free tools and resources that help developers integrate cloud-based gaming services into their titles. The Azure Game Development Virtual Machine, they're calling it, a cloud-based workstation that is geared specifically towards game production and enables devs to access key tools and services unconstrained by the specs of their machines or their geographical location. They stated in a statement, our objective with this is to empower game creators. To do that, we need to lower barriers and ensure equitable access to resources wherever possible. For independent developers, using cloud services can be daunting. By making ID at Azure free, which is what they're calling it, basically for short. We hope that more developers will see this as an invitation to experience the potential of what cloud can do for their game. So that jives with what you were saying before about their,
Well, it's like on the Unreal stuff, right? Like you can download various game engines for free and start working on it, and only start paying later on down the line. So Microsoft, this is Microsoft's tack in that direction. They don't really offer a game engine, but they do offer a lot of cloud services. And now Game Pass is going to be appealing to a lot of business models. Like, what is the first Game Pass only kind of game?
Right.
And will some Joe or Jane just use their tools for free and develop something awesome? So I think it's good, open internet and all that kind of stuff for companies to be offering access to their services outside of a paywall.
Yeah. So. And my guess is what this actually is, like nuts and bolts, is it's a virtual machine, cloud-based virtual machine that you can develop using tools like Unity, like Unreal, like the other big engines, Crytek, whatever.
If you don't have, I have a pretty good system, but I don't have a game development system, right?
No.
So if I can get access to a more powerful system potentially, or just tools or access to things I couldn't buy licenses for, etc.
Sure.
That's empowering, right?
Yeah, I think it's cool. We'll see in practice and what devs actually say, but it seems like that's pretty neat. They also showed Unity. I assume you guys both saw this, the Unity Enemies engine, or the demo of their latest engine for this Enemies thing. That was rad. That lady looked real as shit.
She did.
I was blown away by that. I thought that was
there's the thin haze of computer animation on it, but overall it looked
great.
Really
yeah,
it was really great looking.
Now I realize it didn't. This wasn't a demo that showed a gigantic open world or whatever. So in some ways it seemed kind of closed in and limited in terms of scope. But
real time rendering, though, I think, right? Like that's not.
Yeah, it's all real time rendering. Yes,
it's gussied up, but it's just seeing what the Matrix demo could even do on the current Xbox.
Because to me, it looked like when I first saw it, I went, "Oh, they've mocapped this lady or taken her image and transposed it." So she's just sitting there. This is video of her on a green screen, but they've integrated it. And I was thinking, well, that's pretty neat. That's a cool technique. It reminds me of the way Myst wanted to be, because Myst was a mix of graphics and FMV, and then it hit me. I'm like, no, that lady's in the world. She's not real, and that I was blown away by it. It's really really cool. So nice job.
Unity's sort of the Coke to Unreal's Pepsi, I guess, in that way. Like they're really sort of pushing that, because I think Unreal gets a lot of attention because it is widely used and widely heralded in great many ways. But Unity is also a very commonly used engine as well, and I think that they're really putting their stake down. Like it's like AMD or NVIDIA, and now you got Unity's going to be that against Unreal in terms of the top tier 3D game development engines.
And the thing about it was, it
looks amazing. She also looks like she's older, but also like attractive older in some weird way.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it's like it's all fake, but like her mannerisms are very realistic.
Yeah.
It's not just the eyes move in the right direction, so it's vaguely simulating human. It's like there's a lot going on with the facial features that
Some really subtle finger moments.
Really makes you feel like that was a person mocapped and rendered, like specifically to deliver it, like you might do some deep fake or something like that. But
she even has the sticky lips animation, which is hard to do. So when you open your mouth and shut it, you kind of have this little adhesion, bottom lip to upper lip, and it's these are the small things that will fool us one day.
And the hair works pretty well.
Sticky lips.
Old sticky lips doing her sticky lip things. It's very cool though. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. What else happened? Oh, they gave away some awards. So Game of the Year, Inscription. That's cool.
I thought that was interesting. Yeah. 'Cause that one, that one missed. And what's interesting is this is a game developer conference, so it's like it's a different perspective. It's not. You would like to think it's like what developers kind of are impressed by or think of as innovative.
Yeah.
And so interesting. And Ziggurat, who's frequently in my stream chat, graciously gifted it, and I still haven't played it. Now I feel like a criminal.
You are a criminal. You should be in jail. If you were in the States, we can't extradite you, but if we could, man, straight to jail.
You want me to come make license plates for the USA?
Yeah, let's do it. I could use a nice license plate. Let's do it. Someone in the chat, Mr. Mooncat, says Unity is Weta Digital now. I think it's the other way around. Didn't Unity buy Weta, and now they just own Weta Digital?
Is that like Meta, but the Wario version?
Yeah. So this is the New Zealand-based company that really sprang out of. Wait, Peter Jackson owned Weta originally, right? Did he sell it? I don't know what the deal is. I have to look it up. But Weta Digital is like Lord of the Rings, all the way up through all sorts of movies now, and they do amazing work. But I thought Unity bought them, not the other way. I think Unity's still the big name. I could be wrong.
Well, Unity's the name I see everywhere, including on this most recent video. Unity engine.
Yeah, I don't know why they changed that. Yeah,
I don't know if anyone wanted to develop in a Weta engine. Just
there it is. Unity bought Weta, so they are not. They didn't change their name, but yes. Well, I'd buy Weta. Weta is like, I don't know. You know what I think that was a move for? Here's my take on that. It made Peter Jackson a lot of money, but like he needed it. But anyway, what I think that move is a response to how much people are using the Unreal real-time engine stuff in things like Mandalorian. Other films and TV projects are using this technique now, where they go into that projection cave and they can create any kind of virtual environment they want, and it moves with the character and does everything it's supposed to in natural ways. It's really amazing stuff. This gives them a leg up in the effects side to maybe compete more against that.
I mean, you can even hear it in the behind the scenes. They always talk about we use game engine technology and stuff like that. Like it's even become a buzzword on the set of, this is how we render this. So I think it is kind of becoming the future. Yeah. When you look at how well those shows look, like Mandalorian looks extremely good.
Oh yeah.
Like for a test bed for that technology, like it's kind of insane how good that looks.
Yeah. Better than you would think if you were just told about it. Like you would hear that and go, oh, so it's like game graphics, probably not as good as like it sounds second rate or something just on paper. But when you see what they pull off, I never once was watching Mando and going, there's the telltale sign that this is an engine. Like you don't do it. This looks real. It looks like Tatooine or whatever thing they're doing, and it's impressive.
Well, there was also an age where we all said, it doesn't look bad for a TV show, and I feel like there was a turning point, and maybe it was like Game of Thrones was one of the first ones. I don't know. It's hard to tell where it really began, where it was like, oh, now we expect TV to look like how movies look.
Yeah.
But I know for a long time there, it was always, oh yeah, it doesn't look bad for a TV show.
Yeah.
But I know growing up, people always talked about, oh, they're going to do a Star Wars television show, a Star Wars TV show. And the thing that people always said about it was, yeah, but it'll probably look really bad because special effects just aren't going to be there for a television show.
Right. Yeah.
Now I feel like the TV shows stand right alongside the movies.
Yeah. And in some ways they'll innovate, and that stuff's now going to film. Like this stuff is now being used in films because it works so well here. Actual directors and producers are like, hold on a minute, that's rad, let us try that, we have ideas. And so a lot of that was used in Dune, a bunch of it was used in another thing I can't remember recently.
I think Robert Rodriguez has been doing it for a while, because even Sin City was rather like that, I think.
Oh yeah, he's
early days, but he does a lot of green screen. Just
Should I see that Alita Battle Angel thing? Because I watched brand new.
Hell yes.
Should I?
Hell
okay. Because I watched brand new Cherry Flavor over the last couple of weeks. It's got that girl in it. She doesn't have huge eyes in it, but she's in it, and she's amazing. She's so good. She's so good. That show's
you're not
weird.
Watching Shakespeare. You're watching a live action anime, so like the story is on that level, but it's Americanized, so you don't have to deal. I know you don't like pervy uncle and nose bleeding people and stuff like that.
Wait a minute,
so
nose bleeding.
There's none of that. There's none of that in it. It's it's like it's a proper Hollywood joint.
All right,
good fun time, and yes, she has big eyes, but
I think it's cool looking. She looks
a robot,
rad.
It's not really a robot. She's a cyborg, but preserving some of the mystery to it. It's good.
Okay,
it's good.
I'll watch it.
It's got vibes of Ghost in the Shell, but it's like its own thing.
Yeah.
That guy who was the first. Speaking of Game of Thrones. What's that guy? The wild guy?
The wildling guy?
Not Khal Drogo, but like after Khaleesi meets
the red hair
guy.
Red hair guy?
No, blonde hair guy who gets replaced as an actor.
Shit.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yes, he's
the bad guy in Deadpool. I'm just thinking of the actor. First Deadpool movie, the main villain. Yeah. That actor.
Yeah.
He's in it. He's amazing in it.
Is he?
He's awesome in it. I'm just trying to think of his name.
It's also got that. I like German dude. What's his name? I can't remember. Christoph Waltz. That guy.
Christoph Waltz is in it. He's great in it.
Yeah.
Actually, there's I think. Oh, I don't want to give it away. There's a small cameo because it leads into a potential sequel, which I don't know. I hope they're going to make. James Cameron is somehow tangentially involved in this, by the way.
Oh, is he a producer or something?
Yeah.
James Cameron wrote the screenplay. What?
Yes, this is a good movie. I think people went like, oh, CGI shit, and oh, Japanese thing played by American actor, like some flavor of that. And it's like, I think this movie did well, and we'll see a sequel, but it's a really good movie.
All right.
I think it's long enough, but then it ends too short, and you're like, I want to watch more. I want to see how this concludes. So there's definitely a lack of conclusion to the film.
Yeah.
But it's a good time. This is a great movie. Like, watch it this weekend. Like, I liked it.
All right. If you want to see something crazy, psycho, and hard to recommend, but also if you like weird things, I think Bo might like what I'm about to tell you. Watch Brand New Cherry Flavor on Netflix. It's the show she's in. It's a short one-off season limited series based on a book. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. But Rosa Salazar, who's your Alita Battle Angel lady, then this, she's just, herself. Not herself, but, she doesn't have big eyes or robot arms. She's so good. She's so good. And when you get to the ribs part, we'll talk. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Brand New Cherry Flavor.
Yeah. You got to watch it. It's only like 8 episodes. Bam, you're done.
Oh, that's that weird sort of like, yeah, okay. I remember seeing the trailer for it, and it was weird. Like, there's a pervy guy, and she's getting revenge on a pervy guy.
Yeah, if you like, Eric Lang plays him. If you like Cronenberg, the director, or anything Cronenberg's ever done,
Cronenberg's great.
This is very
Canadian,
Cronenberg.
Canadian lad, by the way.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. You should watch that. All right, sorry, moving on. What else? Oh, let's talk about these games that also won. Iron Gate Studio for Valheim, best debut. That's cool. Nice job. Mm-hmm. Best visual art, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Insomniac Games and Sony. Best audio went to Unpacking for Witchbeam and Humble Games. That's a rad little game. I loved it. Best narrative, Psychonauts 2. Almost hit play on that this week, but freaking there's too much coming out this week, so we'll talk about that later. Social Impact Award went to Boyfriend Dungeon, which our friend Patrick from France, loved that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, big fan.
I heard a lot of buzz about that for a little bit.
Yeah, and then it kind of faded off, but I guess at the time it was...
I just don't want to date my weapons.
I mean, what about one of those gnarly, hairy swords or whatever in Elden Ring, like one of the really nasty-looking ones? You would take that on a date, right? Maybe? No?
I mean, I'm not against it. I just, you hear, like, what are the games you want to play this weekend? It's like, how about a game where you date your weapons? And I'm like, something else.
How about the fist?
It's probably really great once you open it. It's just hard to get to the opening part because
sure,
be judgy. I'm just like, this doesn't look that good.
How about the fist weapons in Hades? Did you take those on a date?
Who says I haven't already?
All right. Well, the truth comes out. Let's see what else. Best technology we already said. Oh, Ratchet and Clank was best technology. Let's see. Best design. It Takes Two. Audience award. Valheim. Game of the Year, Inscription. And Ambassador Award went to Steven Spawn. I don't know what this is.
I don't know why I include this. We're not going to know who either of these people are, but they got awards.
Yeah, Yuri Horii got a Lifetime Achievement Award. I should know that name. I don't know who that is. Is that a famous...
Steven Spawn is a...
Dragon Quest creator is the Horii guy. Yuri Horii. Yuji Horii, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Not Yuri, Yuji. He's, Dragon Quest. Of course. He's rad. Give him all the stuff. He's a good guy.
I'd say that deserves an award.
I agree. He's 68 years
Steven Spawn is the able gamers advocate.
68. He's been working since 82. His first game was Love Match Tennis. And then the Portapopia serial murder case. Dragon Quest would come in 86, and then from then on, it was all Dragon Quest all the time.
Chrono Trigger as well.
Oh, look at that. Yep. I'm trying to find a weird one here. Izadaki Street, Gorgeous King. Oh, I can't get my hands on that. Let's get that going.
You know, I think there's something to be said about not being precious about your creations, right? If you delay and just make one perfect thing, or you just make hundreds of things and improve and go. Yeah. And maybe that's what this guy's CV looks like, right?
Yeah.
What game are we making this week? All right.
Yeah.
You're in a grocery cart and there are tacos chasing you.
Oh, man.
And they go munch, 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 munch. And you got to throw hamburger meat in them to kill them.
Brilliant idea. I will play that game. He's also running and getting ready for the next 12, I guess, is the new one coming out. And that is announced, but not yet have a date. I'd liked 11 quite a bit. I enjoyed the heck out of that. I didn't beat it, but that was an anime-ish looking ass thing that I had a good time with. Yeah, Dragon Quest 8. I guess it's 11, right?
I think so.
That the latest? Yeah. Okay. I liked it.
The one I played was 9, I believe.
Yeah.
I never can remember which one I played and got way into.
Did you finish that thing or no?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I think it was 9.
Well done.
It was the one where the princess was a horse.
Oh. Well, then that sign me up for that game.
Yep, that's all you need to know. Princess was a horse.
All right, I'll get in there. All right, so there's all that. Let's get into a couple of headlines here this week. Sony's probably going to unveil that subscription thing as soon as next week. We still don't know what it's going to be, what it might entail. I wanted to speak to something about the PlayStation 5 real quick. I played a bunch of, which I'll talk about later, not in too much detail, but I'm back to Ghost of Tsushima. And I decided to stream it because I wanted to see the integration of Twitch in PlayStation 5, the built-in integration. And because right now, Microsoft's in the mode of getting that back into Xbox. They got rid of it when they were doing Mixer, and now they want to make it integrated again. So that's happening, but PS5's got it in there. It was so easy to do as you would want it to be. But the thing that impressed me the most is this controller has a built-in mic, and you can mute it or unmute it anytime you want. I had the mic, and we streamed it, and it sounded great. Like,
oh wow,
it didn't sound like great? Garbage. Yeah, like actually did a good job. I was really surprised by that. So yeah, I guess props to Sony for making that not such a.
That's an innovation, I think, over PS5 because on PS4 I had to plug in a headset to use the mic, and I sounded, it's that bad microphone sound where I sound like I'm, on a radio in 1950.
Yeah, because this sounded like, it was as good as a phone that you would hold to your mouth, but better than if you had a phone on speaker. Does that make sense? So it's not like perfect. It's not like a real nice studio mic or something, but it did the job. And there was a little bit of echo, mainly because my TV was so loud. That's something I can change because I had my TV turned up way too loud and it was like echoing through the mic. But we had fun on there. And thanks to everybody who came by for that. That was a good time. All right, let's see. So that could happen soon. Even more sub services on the way. Hey, John, do you want to play? You want to pay $6 a month for Grand Theft Auto Online Plus?
No.
Oh, are you sure? Because listen to these amazing features that you can get for $6, $5.99. Hold on, it's loading.
It's soon to be $11.99, by the way.
Oh, it's going up, is it? All right.
No, it isn't. But everything that's $6.99 usually goes up to $11.99.
I'll give that one.
It doesn't take long.
Hi Disney. Hi Netflix.
Yeah,
see you soon, Prime.
Good point.
Yeah, they'll decide soon enough.
Here's what you get. Being a GTA Plus member gets you the recurring monthly GTA dollars. The GTA fake cash in the game is $500,000 you get every month. Okay.
Well, that's a profit.
That's a lot of money that isn't real. You did that directly deposited in your Maze Bank account, which is part of the game, plus the opportunity to claim properties in and around Los Santos that unlock gameplay updates you may have missed out on. That's a weird line. Special vehicle upgrades, members-only discounts, GTA dollars, and RP bonuses, and more. So now, after hearing that, have you changed your mind?
No.
No?
But, I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, I know that this is obviously a big thing. Like, it has a community. The whole, like, Grand Theft Auto Online RP scene is a really interesting one, and it is what it is. It's just not. It's not mine. I can't make a value assessment on this,
right?
Because I'm so disconnected from it that I genuinely don't know. I don't know if that's a good deal or not. I would say that if you play GTA Online, you know whether or not they're coming after you for extra money or not. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not into that. It's not something I play or am interested in.
I should ask Nick because him and his friends play it, and maybe he's got FOMO for this as a regular player of it. But it seems like all this stuff.
If you're a fan of any game, you'll mostly jump at getting a sub for it, even if it's just I'm not getting that much, but I want to continue supporting the game. Like I did it for Heroes a lot. I didn't feel like I got really good value out of it, but I wanted Heroes to do well.
Yeah.
Cue Ron Howard, it didn't, but that's why I think that's partially why even in Lost Ark I'm like I'll pay a sub. Like Warcraft, I'll pay a sub. I'm playing this game, I like it, I want to see it do well. It's kind of a donation. So I think people who really into GTA probably they might quibble over the value of it, but overall probably want a reason to give them just $6 a month.
Yeah.
But then also when you're not involved, I look at all the subs that are in the universe and I develop hemorrhoids. So it's
That's not a good condition to have when you look at a list of subs and then a hemorrhoid
pops.
Like
GTA has some husk of a game. Like just release the next one already or something. Like so they're taking a dead cow and milking it for every last bit. You get cynical about it when you're not involved because it's easy to do.
Well, it's interesting because they already make a shit ton of money on online because there already is a bunch of stuff you can pay for premium money. And so
it's getting to the point where I'm starting to feel more and more detached from the gaming commerce sphere, personally, because I'm like, it's happening more and more and I'm hating it more and more. And there are people who share that view, but I do hear from a lot of people that it's not a big deal. Like this is old man yelling at clouds business, and I guess.
I get you. I would say that it would be easy for me to throw turds at this, except I literally the other day been playing a lot of community-based Scrabble with people online. So listeners of shows will get a team of 4 and we're all playing Scrabble on Scrabble Go, which is the mobile Scrabble app. And it's fun. Everyone likes Scrabble. Scrabble's fun. And actually, I'm pretty proud of how I've been doing. I've been winning a lot of games. I've been wrecked a couple of times. But Jamie, who makes our mashups, destroys me. Just lays waste to me and my soul and everything I am playing me in Scrabble. Anyway, Scrabble's pretty great. They have a membership thing that says, hey, you don't want ads? You want some free currency? You want some cool skins for your tiles? Yes, you can skin your tiles. All these little things, like $7 a month. I will admit, for a hot second there, I'm like, well, I'm playing so much of this with these guys. I would love these features, at least for a month that I'm playing it as much as I'm playing it. So I was this close to just doing it. Well, that goes to what you're saying, Bo. There's somebody, and John, there's somebody somewhere who's so into GTA Online that this is going to be, yes, this is my way of getting that extra cash. I need to put me over the top or whatever. That's how much I'm, this is our game.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Right.
It's an easy sell.
Right.
And when you're not involved, it's like, what's wrong with the world today? Let's go to shit.
But here's what I'll be honest about, because I believe in honesty and transparency. Just instead of paying for that, ironically, I do it right now. There we go. When I run Scrabble, here it is. Opens up, Scrabble Go. tells me what games are going. When I make a move, it runs an ad every time. Or when I've submitted a move, it runs an ad. I figured out that all you got to do is flip up, close the ad in one swell motion, or sorry, the app, and then open it again. It thinks the commercial already ran, and it doesn't try to force me to watch it. So they didn't get my money because it's so easy to get around the ads. So there you go. Yep.
There
so
you
what
go.
I'm saying, kids, is
great gameplay.
Yep.
But if we don't do this, you don't get games because we can't make money at games, says the game developer.
Yeah, I'm not.
Boo-hoo.
I'm not
don't
looking
make a
at
game then. Goodbye.
And the ads they do send me are terrible for things I don't want. So you're not making money off of me anyway. But you almost got. I did pay him $1.99 to turn off ads for a day once just to see what that was like. I was like, this is a $2 experiment. I'll do it. So they got my $2. And I may, I don't know if I become obsessed or something, maybe. But I'm not that big of a Scrabble head for $7.
It's perfectly acceptable. Scrabble's a great game, and it's not your fault.
No.
That the commerce side of games is what it is.
There you have it.
It's just unfortunate you have to even deal with it.
Let's talk about this. John, how excited are you for the news that The Witcher 4 is under development? And are you surprised?
I mean, a version of me that hadn't played Cyberpunk would be more excited, but that last Witcher game was really good. The tease is interesting. They're showing off a new Witcher school, the School of the Lynx, which is, I guess, a tease of, where's this story going? What's it going to be about?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that we gave CD Projekt Red undue accolades prior to Cyberpunk coming out because, we looked at how good Witcher 3 was and we forgot about the road to that game coming out and their prior titles coming out before that being relatively obscure but beloved. And now coming out of Cyberpunk, I think we're maybe giving this new Witcher game trepidation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's warranted across the board. I think maybe we're approaching it the way we should, which is I hope they make a good game.
Yeah. But let me say this.
Go.
The Witcher world is something they've done 3 times before.
Yeah.
And it's also way less ambitious. Having a countryside full of poor people go, I'll have some money, versus trying to populate a city versus high tech and all these different things. Cyberpunk was a big ambition.
Yeah.
When I look at the Witcher world, it's snow and swamps and like mountains. They got this.
Yeah.
They got this. Like they can handle Witcher.
Yeah.
They can. This is. I would have confidence that this is going to probably be a decent product. This isn't like you'll be able to live out whatever sci-fi fantasy you wish. Want to swap genitalia? We'll do it. Want the music of the future? You want to marry Keanu Reeves? We'll have it for you. Yeah. And everyone's like, what is this shit game? Oh my God, it has nothing. This isn't the meta, Witcher, they'll handle it.
They'll be fine.
They'll be nasty looking poor people that'll be like, oh, can you get rid of my werewolf, please? And you'll be like, I love this game. Best game, 10 out of 10. It's fine. I think they got this. Sorry.
I think you nailed it.
Because my wife turned into a werewolf.
I love it. You guys you've reduced it. I mean, yes, it's reductive, but you've kind of nailed it. You've nailed it.
It's like after 80 hours of Witcher, it's like poor person. Oh, that one wants to talk to me. Oh, yeah. I've got a vampire turned into a bat and crawled up my ass. Can you pull it out for me? It's stuck up there, won't transform.
Hello, Witcher. And then he's like, where? Show me your ass. Let's see it. Let's get that thing out of there.
First, let me drink some poison. I need it to get...
That's right. Yeah. My eyes are all red for a reason. Oh, and then the TV show is very successful. So, you knew a 4th was coming just because, The Witcher's a thing now. It's a big deal. So, of course.
The TV show's pretty good.
It's quite good.
My stamp.
I like it. I haven't seen the new season yet, but I like the first one just fine. I hear the second's better, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I will. Yeah. So Witcher. More Witcher, everybody. Fortnite did a thing that I agree with wholeheartedly, and I hope it's forever. They took out building. They say for now. And this has happened before. They've had other weekend events where there was no building and things like that. But the one thing about Fortnite's always pushed me off is that stupid building stuff. I hate it in a competitive sense. It's fine for a single player game where you're trying to build a fort, but I don't want to build it while I'm shooting people. I freaking hate that stuff. just makes me not want to go anywhere near that game. If they got rid of it forever, I might pop in there. Maybe. So
I have a question about this though, because I'm like, of course, all right, tinfoil. I'm building a tinfoil hat, Fortnite style on my head.
Okay.
You think this is like we're losing popularity play, or like this is like, to me the building is like a cornerstone. So either it's coming from the pro scene and they're listening to what people want on that level, or this game is rapidly losing interest. In light of other new experiences, Elden Ring, like, or whatever. I haven't really been plugged into esports that hard. It's not the esport that League even is, in terms of just having consistent exhibition play and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, do you think there's any? I haven't been following Fortnite
I haven't at all either.
I mean, I think it could probably be a little bit of both. I think the game's still largely successful for them, but I do think that it wouldn't surprise me if people were kind of moving away from it and trying new things. And I think Fortnite has always been willing to experiment. Like, I mean, it's a game that every now and then has live music concerts in it in their battle royale game. Like, they're not afraid to try weird stuff. And I think from the outside looking at it, the building is the thing that's probably the weirdest about the game. Like, you look at it and you go, well, you shoot somebody and all of a sudden a tower erupts out of the ground. Why is this? But it's the thing that's made me get the closest to wanting to go back and play it. Because, like Scott, that's the part of the game I don't like. So
But I guess my question is, how Heroes is like, it doesn't have last hitting, this isn't a good game. Do you think that's like if Heroes went, we're putting last hitting in the game? Like, it almost, the news hits me that way, where it's like, Fortnite, we have building. That's why we're not PUBG or Apex, and that's why we're the international phenomenon that has Travis Scott and Ariana Grande and The Mandalorian and John Wick and everyone else. Like, we're the best.
Yeah.
And like, well, all right, well, we have this building thing. Some people kind of think it's kiddie, so let's get it out. Because
it used to. You got to remember though, and you're making a good point, because the player base of especially young players aren't going to give a crap about the origins of all of this. But when this game was announced in 2012, 2013, the game was a wave based sort of tower defense sort of thing, where that building was part of that, not a battle royale, which came later. They just kept it in. And I'll bet they regret it. I'll bet they regret leaving that in for that mode, because had they not, then it wouldn't even be expected. Maybe this would even be a thing you would add once in a while as a joke, like, we're putting building in this weekend because it's crazy, and then it would go away again and we'd be back to normal. Instead, the normal is the building, and pros and players who think they're good and streamers that are on the high end of things, that building stuff's important to the game because it's in there. You take it out, do they freak out the way you would about last hit? I don't know.
Maybe it's like a work bandwidth. So if you look at Apex and you look at PUBG, like, they release new characters, guns, maps. Fortnite's got to do all that, but they probably got to keep the building meta fresh too.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a whole edition. Like, is it the same cabin you building every year? Maybe they're like, why don't we put some titanium plates in? Like, how do you make building an interesting mechanic year over year in a shooter space? Like, even if, I don't think it's a problem you even solve with hiring more people. It's like design decisions. Like, how much depth long term does building offer in a game like this, where it's also accomplishable just by a new map and new heroes and guns and stuff like that? Like, how many warp springboards and weird jump pads? Like how do you make that exciting? If you've already got jump pads and buildings and ladders, how do you make a super ladder? Like, do you get Norman Reedus's ladder and like what do you do? Like how do you make that more interesting? Like, maybe that's a reason to pull it out, is just that it doesn't have long-term esports.
Cracking me up tonight, dude. That is a great reference. That Death Stranding reference is quality. I feel like Core is getting the best of Bo tonight. This is amazing. This is great.
Friday. I had a mocha. I had a cafe mocha.
Getting Norman Reedus's ladder. That's just great.
But anyway, you know what I mean? Like any game developer or anyone armchair developer out there, like, how to make a game more interesting. Cool mechanics, cool guns, cool heroes. How do you make a building meta? Like, like, even Valheim, it takes forever for them to come out with new pieces, and same with No Man's Sky. It's like, how do you make interesting build pieces that also are meaningful to a shooter?
Right.
Was that
Especially
Fortnite?
Because
this is Fortnite.
I feel like
here.
a lot of people don't care about it. So again, it goes to that, like, what percentage of your players even engage with that part of the game?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people get in and they don't ever build.
Yeah, that's true. I don't. When I played, I hated it. I was like, well, I'm not going to build them. But then you always have this feeling like, well, if I'm not building, am I actually any good? Because is it turned out to be like the key to being good in this game? And I'm avoiding it because I hate it. And that's partly why I never touched it again, was I just never knew if me avoiding.
Now you can find out because it's out. And it's possibly out forever.
Yeah, it might be forever. So
I hate to interrupt the conversation, but you're showing in the video, you're showing the chat room. I guess you play as Ariana Grande surfing on a rainbow with a bunch of paint flying everywhere. This is in the Fortnite engine.
Yeah,
and this I'd hate to be a curmudgeon because it's a game. Why not put whatever you want in this? But this doesn't look like Fortnite. This looks like magical shit that kids would be interested. You know what I mean? It's great. It's really cool, actually.
It is kind of cool.
But me as an adult with video game experiences I'm looking for, it's like I
don't want anything
this.
to do
with
it.
But this is obviously a good thing for their company and brand. So it really just sort of reinforces that. I think their target audience must be under 18.
Yeah,
they're trying to get
think
people
so.
in young,
Yeah.
get them free games all the time, and then 20 years from now, the idea is. They don't know what Steam is, but they know what Unreal Store.
Yeah, there are a bunch of neighbor kids around here. I know their parents, and you find out who's playing Fortnite, who's not, and all that sort of stuff. It's still a thing with a lot of kids, like in a big thing for them, and they're always thinking about, whoa, the patch notes. Did you hear about this or that or whatever? What we're seeing right here is like the introduction to the concert. So this isn't her. This is someone just skinned up, looking like her.
Yeah.
That you're seeing in the video, but. This is how the thing starts. You start with this weird race. There's this bit with the giant shoot him with the plane thing. You do some gamified shit before she comes out and performs, and then she's
it's like a tech demo, right?
Kind of, yeah. But you're doing it. You're in the game and you're part of it. So think of it as like an event in an MMO, where for a very limited time there's a bunch of new shit to do. This is perhaps more dynamic than Easter in World of Warcraft, but.
Yeah,
but a little bit, but it's that idea. It's like a special thing in a lot of ways. It is kind of, these kids are playing their version of an MMO, and there's not even, except for this scene right here, you really don't even have a gun for most of this. You just.
Do you know how many threads would be opened in Rage on the WoW forums if World of Warcraft did something like this? You know what I mean? Like Ariana Grande. The Ariana Grande raid where you slide on rainbows and pre-pot drinking rainbow potions or something. They'd be like, this is not my Warcraft. They couldn't do that. There's just certain games where it would just be, this would seem like such a bad move, but this is working for the game, I guess. But it just sort of drives home the point that this is, it's targeting a specific, I think, younger audience that isn't hung up on stuff like that so much and just wants to have fun with lasers and celebrities they know and stuff.
This could be the norm going forward. I don't know.
But then they remove building out of it, and I'm like, what are you saying here?
Yeah. See, now all these people are there, and they're doing this little scripted handshake, and now they're like, oh, Ariana Grande is going to come out and go, I can't go as high as she can.
Right, and then keep in mind, they've done some crazy things, like the MLK thing, right? It's a murder simulator. And, we've got civil rights. They're trying to commemorate a civil rights activist in a murder simulator. And, that hit really badly with everybody.
Yeah.
Because I think they find themselves having product A and they're trying to do product B.
Right.
Or have goal B. Even the whole, Apple is communism and we're, freedom loving rebels.
Right.
Everyone's like, no, you're not. You're a corporation too.
Yeah, they're
not. This is the same picture. Everyone's looking like, what's her name? Shit.
Ariana Grande.
Jim's
Everything's
from The Office.
Oh,
what's her name? Peggy? No.
Not Dawn.
Jenna Fisher.
Jenna Fisher
plays her.
Right.
We're all Jenna Fishers going, this is the same picture.
Right.
We're all hot ladies saying, this is the same picture.
Right. Right. No, you're not wrong. I think that they have tapped into their audience in a way that I think is admirable. But I don't want to do this. I'm watching this going, yeah, okay. But if this is something I was really into, if you were really into Ariana Grande, imagine what this must be like for you. Like you're running around in a virtual space. Like this is as close to metaverse as any kid's ever going to get right now. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal. So I don't know. I admire it. But also to your point about corporate infighting or corporate fighting, when $1 billion multi-billion-dollar corporation wants to yell and be pissed at the other one. I do not give a shit about that stuff. And they're trying to get me on someone's side, freaking F right off. You're all making money on everybody, so go away. I don't like it.
Anyway, I find this confusing.
Yeah. Real quick here, if you like Sonic and you want to buy another Xbox, there's an Xbox Series S special edition to commemorate the new Sonic movie, and it has 2 fuzzy controllers. They're fuzzy, you guys.
It's a messed up reality we live in.
Yep. Look at those things. I feel like
why haven't we done this sooner?
So
we have the technology.
Yeah.
Bo's reaction is not unlike what the first thought that went through my head was why is this the first time someone thought
to do
comfortable?
This?
Yeah,
right?
it kind of does.
No, it just seems like it's gonna make your hands so sweaty.
Okay, so this is the first iteration. This is made with whatever it's made with. Imagine maybe some soft silk or cashmere, or maybe even PETA, don't call me, some real rabbit fur controllers out there. Look at,
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah. Like for a really comfortable, especially up here in Canada, where the weather gets real cold. I want to be able to play Xbox while I'm ice fishing.
Yeah.
And this will just do the trick. I can take my mittens off.
I think it's very odd. I want to hold one. I don't want to buy this, but I want to hold one just to see.
Yeah, I do want to touch it.
Yeah, I want to touch it. I like.
Get clipped.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. Thanks in advance, Jamie. I'm sure he's already doing it. But that ring that they made the circle on the S into a big ring, like a Sonic ring, I think is a very nice touch. Everyone loves Knuckles. Everyone loves Sonic. Why not? Idris Elba being Knuckles is still weird casting, but whatever. I'll take it. Yeah, you want this? It's coming. It's all yours. Get it. Catch it. Oh, they say how much this is? Hold on. Probably the same as the usual one, just special, right? Let's see.
Is it even for sale or is it part of a contest? I think it might just be a contest.
Oh, here it is.
Can't buy it.
Yeah, it says won't be generally available to the public, given away as part of an enter to win sweepstakes. I missed this part. To enter, people who need a blue furry Xbox controller in their life must go to Xbox Twitter page, retweet a promotional post with the hashtag Xbox Sonic 2 sweepstakes, or cash in Microsoft Rewards points on a raffle ticket. So you go cash in one of those tickets. I haven't.
Do you think they ever turn around and sell the controllers after all the attention it's gotten?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, why don't we go to the Etsy creators are probably looking at that, going like, holy shit, I can whip. My mom could make one of those.
Yeah.
My mom was an Etsy creator for a while. She can whip together a furry controller in an afternoon.
Yeah, why not? By the way, this is a good time to mention this. I totally forgot to tell you guys. I have one of those custom build your own controllers coming to me from Microsoft right now. So I went and did the color scheme and chose what all the combos of colors. I was half tempted to do like total clown makeup looking ass bad looking design, but I didn't. I went with a really cool like I don't know, like a yellow jacket kind of. Nice. Bright yellow and blacks and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Anyway,
my stepkids, we did that for them when we got them the Xbox Series S for Christmas. We had them each design their own controller, and one of them did exactly what you said. Every part is a different color.
Yeah.
Just different choices across the board for every section, and it's amazing. It actually looks really good for some reason, all said and done. And then the other went with all black with just like neon toxic green highlights. So it's like,
wow. I love that though, because each kid is their own controller. That's a really cool way of doing that, actually.
Yeah. I was proud of it. It was like a very proud parent moment for me, because we wanted them to design their own, but we didn't want them to know we were buying it for them.
Sure.
So the trick became, how do we get them to design it without them knowing that this is going to be the Christmas present? So what we decided to do was, I was in here in the office designing my own, and my wife called them in for something, just, make up some reason. And they are always curious what I'm doing on my computer. And they turn around and they go, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just playing with this controller designer thing." Yeah. Can we design a controller? Okay, real quick, just let's do it, but then you got to get out of here. And then we had them each design a controller, saved it, and then bought it for them. So
that's awesome.
I was extremely proud of how we fixed that.
I think that's some good parenting for shit.
You better not ever design a controller while they're around again, or they'll be expecting a controller next time.
No kidding. If you go to the site now, they actually updated it with new options here recently. You go to the what do you call it? The
Design lab.
What is it? Xbox Design Lab, it's called. And you just go in there and go, all right, I want to just go nuts, or I want to do something simple, or I want to match the color of this one looks like Captain America, basically. Yeah, it's actually a really cool thing. I kind of wish Sony would do this too, because there's no reason they couldn't, sell more controllers that way. So
can't put fur on them yet, though.
No fur options, as far as I know. You have to shave it. It comes furry.
Another business idea for Bo, CanadianController.com.
Oh, man. Will it have a sorry button? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And just a big sorry button, and then there'll be a voice in there that goes, sorry.
That's great.
Sorry.
Every time you swing wrong in Elden Ring.
Sorry
about that. Sorry. Did you guys see? I think I sent it to John. Had somebody modded the freaking Elden Ring to have Homer fighting Shrek.
Shrek.
Yeah. And I thought, John's going to love this. A freaking Shrek in this meme. Yeah.
Well, John loves Shrek. That's why.
He loves it.
Yeah, that's true.
If you guys have any extra copies of Shrek laying around or anything like that, I'm telling you,
no,
John's
don't
your guy.
go that route. I don't want Shrek.
If Scott could get away with somehow mailing you 1,000 DVDs of Shrek,
I would do it. I would do it. If it was that guy eating hobo diarrhea and I could have all the money in the world, I'd send John all the Shrek DVDs. Just like you'd walk out front, it'd be all over the place. You'd
just go to eBay and buy all the lots, all the ones shipped to John Jagger.
Yep, I'd do it. I'd do it, and I'd be proud of it. That's what would
be a great joke. Great practice.
What else? Hey, I didn't even ask. Nobody played Stranger in Paradise yet, right?
Nope.
No, because I returned it. I bought it and returned it.
Because you didn't like the. Remind me, what was the deal? We talked about it last week, but I can't.
They won't let you stream parts of the game.
Oh, that was
and
it.
As we both stream and have limited time and other games to play,
yeah,
we were like, we don't think so. We don't like this. Buy.
Plus, they didn't put a moratorium on that or like a time limit on that, did they?
No, they just said don't stream it ever.
I'm sure it's still true for Final Fantasy VII Remake as well, but that one's a harder one to say no to.
That's true.
They got me there.
Let's see what the Metacritic is on this right now, just for fun.
I mean, I think it's getting generally well-received reviews. Like, I think it's, it's like a B movie, like it's.
Yeah. But you don't mean the one with Jerry Seinfeld. You mean like B movie.
Yeah. Like a B movie.
Okay. All right. That's fair. You're probably right. Hold on.
I mean, I'm intrigued. I want to buy it. It's just, I'm very frustrated by their streaming decision, and that was enough for me to decide, I got other ways to spend my time.
That's true.
Also Elden Ring adjacent, and there's Elden Ring to play right now.
Yeah, why would you? Yeah, exactly. Why would you play the 90?
The other one, but you're sated,
Yeah, you got the game that's 95% freaking fresh on every site, and then you got this one in the low 80s, which still is pretty good, but. Why would you not play the other one if you're looking for that sort of
I've
thing?
heard from plenty of people playing it that they're liking it. They think the story is ridiculous. I mean, it certainly seems to be. It's got a lot of great moments. I'm not going to speak ill of the game. I think the company policy is bad. So, and I think to kind of follow up on this, it's in our news. We'll just mention it briefly. I find it kind of ironic.
Yeah.
That they are now giving out copies of the game and asking streamers to play the game.
Oh, that is hilarious. Yeah.
Former WoW streamer, now more general things, Preach. Yeah. He got tapped to play this game on stream as part of an ad.
Yeah.
And, again, I like Preach, not anything against him. I think he's great. I think his content's great. But yeah, I think it's ironic that they're like, no, don't stream it. It'll ruin the game. Hey, streamers, would you please stream our game? Because we recognize that this is a legitimate way to advertise and sell a product.
Yeah, that's kind of jacked up.
You can't have it both ways, Square. I mean, you're going to try, so go ahead and try, but you kind of can't have it both ways.
Who do you think's more uptight, the Square people or the Enix people? I know that they're probably no longer, there's no separation anymore, but if there was, right. which side is the one that we would say, oh yeah, they're going to stand up and fight for the little guy? Who do you think it would be out of the two of those?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Enix.
You know about Square though?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Enix. I know a little about Enix only because I've been playing some old retro like SNES games, and they were still making. It was before their merger, so I played a couple of those. None of them are huge names like the stuff that Square was making. So it feels like Enix would be like, "No, come on, you guys, we need to play fair." Like he'd be the one that wants to shoot for the underdog, but I could be wrong. All right, here's a quoted review on Stranger of Paradise, just to give you an idea of where it's at. It's at 72%. I was giving it too high of a score. It says, when paired with the so bad it's good story and dialogue, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is a good time for partly the wrong reasons. Critically, it's not great. You've still got a car crash of a game on your hands, but it's a car crash you can't look away from. In the meantime, the combat system the combat and job system is a roller coaster ride that takes you right past it being a wild ride in its own right, whatever that means. So yeah, mixed reviews.
So 72% is really a 52% because 20% of it is just because it has Final Fantasy in the name.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't disagree with that. That's definitely Square.
People really like the Final Fantasy series, especially in the Bathing in the Light of 14. That was part of the appeal too. It's in the zeitgeist.
Yep, there you go. Let's see. How much time do we have? Should we skip our games as art or hold that for next week?
Let's put that to next.
Yeah, we'll hold it. We wanted to do the big finish, but we're going to hold it where we didn't do a 48-minute intro for the show. So we'll do that.
It's a good one. One of our best ones, by the way. If you're not subbed to our Patreon, please do so.
Oh, yeah.
And avail yourselves of our business plan to open a gift graveyard or a GIF graveyard.
Yeah, GIF Javeyard is what it is.
GIF Javeyard.
Yeah, it's the gift that just keeps on giving. And we're really excited about it. So go check that out at patreon.com/core show. All right, we're going to do a Dear Martha review. John has one prepared. And I think that's awesome, given how sick you were. So very cool that John went ahead and did this. We're going to go ahead and play it. And John, anything special? Just the old Ken Burns business? Or
yeah, let's just do it.
All right, here we go.
My dearest Martha, I write to you now my review for the game Wobble Dogs.
Whoa.
Martha, I open the game. I name my first dog Bubbles, and I love him very much. He is very polite, and burritos are his favorite. Randy comes along. Randy is a bleeper and bullies Bubbles all the time. They have children together, Clorox and Grape. Bubbles dies. I am distraught. I had no idea your dogs could die in this game. I tab out to tell a friend that Bubbles has died. I tab back in. Randy, Grape, and Clorox are crowded around Bubbles, consuming his corpse. There was nothing left to bury. I set up a new room to memorialize Bubbles. His family, who clearly didn't inherit Bubbles' sense of remorse, go happily about their day. I love these dogs. Yours in this life and the next, Ray.
Oh. That may have been the most perfect use of this music and voice and stuff, because it sounded like a tale from the war front, you know?
I found myself wishing you ended that one sentence at burritos instead of it continuing. Just the way it struck. You took a pause, and I was like, "And burritos." Like, I went to the store to, I can't say it again. Read that just one line, but stop at burritos.
Yeah, the burritos.
There's a period there.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I gotta pull it up. Okay.
Right.
I name my first dog Bubbles, and I love him very much. He is very polite and burritos.
I want to say something like that on purpose in a meeting or something.
Yeah.
Just be like, these projections don't look very good. In order to do better, we'll have to raise the average handle time of this particular work process and burritos.
Yeah, and burritos.
And burritos.
By the way,
I
looked up this game while you were delivering that. What is actually an excellent review? And this game looks incredible.
Oh,
it's overwhelmingly positive, and I think I saw it. So I saw these dog aquariums connected by a funnel, and then they were launched through the funnel, and they're flying around.
Oh yeah,
all over the place, and I'm like, what is this game? Like this actually looks like it could be like Sleeper Amazing.
Oh, what a weird looking deal this is.
So I think there's a programming language in here, and you program your dogs.
Yeah, it's visual. Visual. What do you call that?
Visual Basic.
No. Shoot. There's a word for this for programmers, and I forgot what the hell it is. It's you basically are dragging
node based programming.
Yeah, it's like node based. It is basically that, but I know there's a word. Anyway, this looks insane, and look at these reviews. My gosh.
It's like The Sims, but for weird neon dogs in an aquarium, I guess. But there's all these weird items like this. I'm wishlisting this.
I am too, dude. Look at this weird effing thing.
And they're like they behave kind of like dogs, so they're all kind of happy and just go lucky. And
yep, I'm wishlisted it. I want this game now.
Did you know? Did you pick this randomly, John, not knowing, or were you like?
I don't remember how I stumbled upon it. Sometimes I just go down weird rabbit holes, and sometimes it's usually stuff that's on sale or gets recommended to me. I don't know how I found this one, but I think I saw the name and was just like, "What the hell is Wobble Dogs? I have to look into this."
Crossbreed your Wobble Dogs to make new mutations. There's a petri dish where you're looking at the little chromosomes and stuff. Oh, so it's like a bit of spore too.
Yeah, it says, "Love this game. I soak up hours and hours experimenting with dogs and building their little homes." This guy says, "This is the kind of game I would have lost my mind over had I had it when I was 10, but I still like it at 22."
I hope people get this because right now, in the history of Dear Martha's, I mean, barring times where I've reviewed things that were already very popular, but when it comes to like introducing games to people, right now, Orc Massage is the one that has received the most feedback and purchases off of a Dear Martha review. Yeah. I've had people tell me that they bought it, and I'm not exactly sure who it is on my friends list because I don't remember who all I've added on my friends in Steam, and I don't know screen names very well. But there's someone on my friends list on Steam that has like 6 hours in that game. So,
wow. I love that. I love that somebody who listens to the show immediately ran out and grabbed that freaking Orc Massage. That's insane.
I mean, I think we do a lot for the adult game industry here on Core.
You think honestly. So? Okay.
We should, I wish someone would reach out for some sponsorships.
Yeah, nobody gives me codes for anything, by the way.
Yeah, John doesn't get codes just out of nowhere. So listen.
The only codes we get is if Scott's generously sharing codes, because Scott does share codes.
Yeah, that's
I get a lot of codes.
We have to give Scott credit for.
I do get codes.
He's our number one sponsor.
I get a lot of codes. They're honestly, most of the time they're indie titles, that sort of thing. But once in a while I get a big mainstream thing. But yeah, like, hey, Wobble Dogs, y'all want to sponsor the free version of the show? Get in here, make it happen.
Yeah, Wobble Dogs looks.
It looks insane. I want to play it.
I like what I'm seeing. Yeah.
I kind of want to play this. It looks like a really creative effort. Ooh, it's kind of gross. I just saw a dog poop.
Yeah, they poop these like purple or these pink like poop emojis in 3D or whatever. Like they poop out. It's really weird. They do all the things dogs do. And he was sleeping. The one I saw, he like took a shit while sleeping. He's like,
pretty great, pretty great. All right, that's it for that. Hey, let's talk about the games we played this week. I am back and fully committed to Ghost of Tsushima for the next bit. I'm putting aside all AAA large-scale games aside just for a moment. That includes Elden Ring. That includes Forbidden West. That includes whatever else. I need to throw my guts into that thing. And that game is amazing, and I do not want to short shrift it. It's still maybe my favorite game of this year in terms of a game that came out before now, but I'm finally discovering it.
I have the need to finish something.
And the need to finish it. Yeah. I gotta,
what's the last video game you finished? You beat?
That would have been...
Can't say Resident Evil 2.
No. I won't count those.
Resident Evil 3 you can say.
I did. Oh, I could say that? Well, I did finish that.
Oh, and you finished Village, which would have been after that.
Village was after that. What did I finish recently?
You're going to finish Kirby, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yes. Kirby's getting finished. And so is Tsushima. I want to 100% that thing or come close. Because I really like it. The loop in that game is great. I did some cool samurai shit yesterday. It's just, that game is rad. and it's beautiful on PS5. But I cannot remember the other game I finished more recently here. It was a smaller game, and I don't remember. I'm on my way to finishing some others I'll talk about today, too. I'm almost done with a game that came out in 2002 or 3. So we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, I'm back in there. Sorry, everybody else. Giant Games, you're going to have to wait. I really need to. I want to finish that game. As of last night, we weren't going to be able to talk about this because today is Kirby Day. Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out today, and last night I didn't have this in the notes because it wasn't on my Switch yet, but it's now on there this morning. I'm actually playing this on the television with a Pro Controller rather than doing it portably.
Kirby gets TV.
He gets TV treatment, so I can lounge on a couch and have a great big screen and all that. Kirby and the Forgotten Land so far, I think I'm 3 zones in or something. Haven't had a ton of time, but enough time to get my hands around what's going on. Is delightful and wonderful in every way. It is a beautiful, fun, wholesome, yet weird, intrinsically weird series. This game carries all that stuff forward. It does it in 3D for the first time, like an actual 3D environment. If you like, here's the closest comparison I can think of. If you like Mario 64, Super Mario Odyssey, the one where he cleaned up shit, Sunshine, those games, that style of open, like, oh, I could go get all the coins, or I could do this or that or whatever. Not quite open world. There's still stages or whatever, but you have multiple things you can get done. That kind of Mario, that's what this is, but with all the insane transformations that Kirby can make and interactions with the world. And like if he's wearing the fire hat, he can set a fuse on fire that then goes to a cannon, so you have to jump into the cannon before it gets there, and then the cannon takes you to a secret place and you get a bunch of secret shit up there. You turn into, like you've seen, he jumps on a car and becomes Kirby and does all kinds of weird shit as a car. Vending machines, traffic cones, skate ramp things, steps, just all kinds of weird objects, and tons of hidden things. Really fun, fluid, beautiful, graphically represented. For lack of a better term, it's like old school concepts, but presented in a very 2022 way. It looks very nice. I love it so far. I am going to beat that game, and I haven't done anything in it yet where I wasn't just smiling and having a great time. So it is exactly what I wanted, and I'm sure other Kirby fans are commiserating. If you don't like Kirby, you're not going to like this, because it is Kirby-ass Kirby, but all those elements that make Kirby great are there, including just how memey he is, and goofy and weird and creepy at sometimes, and it's just an odd setting because you feel like the world you're in feels like a less dark Last of Us world, but you're doing Kirby Mario rated G stuff the whole time, so it never gets dark or anything. It's just it's hard to explain, but I think Kirby's rad, and I will play that game to its completion. So there's that.
It's got the Nintendo quality to it. Like,
hell yeah!
Play those Nintendo games, even though as much as I rag on the Switch, those games are really well made.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. There's something there. I don't know what it is. Whatever their magic juice is, it's there once again. And I can feel it the minute I fire that thing up. And there's an attention to polish and UI elements and things where none of it is like hurried or feels like slapped on or tacked on. Everything just feels fluid and clean, and the menu transitions are beautiful, and they just do such amazing work. And I wish they were less weird about other things that they do with internet and, games preservation and all that other stuff. But Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I think, it's one of my favorite Switch games. It's great. It's really good. So I'm going to keep playing that. Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow.
Hell yeah.
Although every time I type it, I put Aria of Sorry. I keep doing that.
Aria of Grande.
Sorry.
Aria of Grande. It's the Game Boy Advance Collection is out on every platform now. Castlevania Advance Collection is what it's called. All of the Castlevania games that were on Game Boy, including the addition of Dracula X, I believe, which was never on there. Yeah, for some reason.
It's on there.
It's weird, right? It's like here's your bonus Castlevania game. Because we covered Castlevania on Play Retro this last week, this became kind of an obsession for me to play a whole bunch of Castlevania games, just get a taste for some of the weird ones, the strange ones that never made it out of Japan, the PSP game, which is a remake of Rondo of Blood, but in 3D, which was prequel to Symphony of the Night, I believe, right? Rondo of Blood?
That could be. Yeah, I think so.
That's the order. I even played a couple of the DS games this week, one of which was a direct sequel to this one, to Aria of Sorrow. I'm with a lot of people who believe Aria of Sorrow might be the best of all the Castlevania games. I know, everyone, Symphony of the Night is held to be the classic it is for a reason. It's an amazing game that I never beat, but I played, and it was great. I'm going to beat Aria of Sorrow. It's happening. In fact, I'm pretty sure
I'm definitely going to do it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I've been playing a little bit every day. I'm making way progress. I've unlocked a ton of shit. I'm way deeper in that game than I ever was the first time I played it way back in the day. I think that thing for $19 or whatever it is, total a good deal. I don't know how the other games are, how they stack up.
They're not as good.
Not as good.
They're not as good.
That's what I've heard. But you see the top 10 lists. This one's always number 2, sometimes number 1. It usually just hangs out there with Symphony of the Night. But I think you can almost say, without Symphony of the Night, is there even an Aria of Sorrow? Because it uses so many ideas and mechanics and the RPG elements and all the stuff that Symphony did. So this is not me bagging on Symphony of the Night. I just think that this is so much better than they thought, especially because I thought the story when it started was stupid. It's set in the year 2035, and he's wearing future coat and looking all cool and dumb. But
Soma Cruz.
Yeah, Soma, which I know a lot of people like Soma. He's fine, whatever. But mechanically, the weapon variety, the ability variety, the boss fights have been a blast. I'm basically Elden Ringing a little bit. like in a lot of ways, Elden Ring takes so much from the Castlevania games or from Metroidvanias in general, and then blows them up. Souls games in general are kind of difficult things to fight, but once you learn them, you rip through them, and then you upgrade this and you do this, and it's kind of the same thing. It's just
I've always felt like the evolution of Castlevania's DNA truly landed in Dark Souls and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for Konami because they probably could have been there for that, but maybe they still could in the future. I don't know. Because I remember those 3D games weren't all that great. They were okay. What were those called?
The first one wasn't it Castlevania 64?
Oh, that was bad. That was a bad video game.
Much maligned video game.
Yeah, but the one I'm thinking of is the more 2013. It's been 7-8 years since we've had a Castlevania game, a proper one. There wasn't a mobile thing, so it's been a while. But they were 3D, and I forgot the name, and someone in the chat will say it in a second. But honestly, Tunic is another good example of this right now. Elden Ring, they feel like the evolution of these old games, and they're and at their prime, man, they're so much fun. So I'm going to beat that game. I've been loving it, having a blast with it. I think it was John who originally said, "Oh, you got to play Aria of Sorrow." You were 100% right. That game is great. Okay.
Yeah, it's my favorite Castlevania. Again, not intended to throw shade at Symphony of the Night. I know a lot of people like that game, but I have never been so driven to get all in a game like I did with Aria of Sorrow, to where not only did I beat it, but I beat it with if you have certain souls equipped for the final boss, then it unlocks an insane amount of content. Honestly, it unlocks the inverted castle, which is basically the entire castle but upside down. So it's almost like unlocking a whole new section of the game, and it's 30% more content in the game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that game is so cool. It has awesome weapons, including some that are there just to be memes. I mean, it's set in the future, so you literally get a handgun at one point, and it's garbage.
Yeah.
It is one of the worst weapons in the game, but there is something about your character just pulling out a handgun and shooting the zombies and stuff.
Yeah.
My personal favorite, which is Excalibur, which is a blunt mace because it's a sword stuck in the stone, and you just swing the whole stone at them instead of the sword.
Yeah.
A game is super cool, super creative, and I invested an insane amount of time in that and the DS sequel to it. And I think the story is actually really good. It does start very eye-rolly, it's the future and Dracula's castle appears and you're Soma Cruz, exchange student on vacation. And it's very anime to the start, but the story goes some interesting places, and there's a pretty interesting twist around the main character that I think is pretty solid.
Yeah.
I just think it's a very, very cool game.
Yeah, it's very good. I am definitely going to keep that going, and I probably should be streaming it. It's hard to, because I have the Switch version, and I'm not really set up to stream my Switch because, again, the Switch makes things harder than they should be.
You have one of those dongles to stream your cell phone?
I have an old one. Oh,
so I bought one of those to stream Wild Rift a little bit. They're actually kind of nice. I don't know if that would work for you.
It would if except I don't have the advanced collection on there. I only have it on the Switch.
$70. I just don't know if it has that kind of an output or not, but you probably could get.
Yeah, probably
like
could.
A two HDMI output on. Does it stream to television like a monitor?
It will. Well, it would from the Switch. I mean, if I had an HDMI capture, I could do it that way.
Oh yeah.
But my old one died, so I haven't invested yet on another one. So that's just a pain. But anyway, we'll see. It's just a very cool game. I will keep going, and I'll let you guys know what I think when I finish it.
I looked up Castlevania 64 because I've forgotten about this game. It looks like Dark Souls.
Oh, it's terrible. I know it does look like Dark Souls.
It's terrible.
Right.
Sure, it's terrible, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is like PlayStation 1 graphics Dark Souls. Like,
yeah. It's ugly.
It's ugly, but like it just looked like the health bar. Like there isn't the weapon system, but you pause, go in the menu, get shit to use. I'm like, I do that all the time in Dark Souls.
What was the one 7 years ago? They were called Castlevania. Lords of Shadow. That's it. Thank you. Lords of Shadow rather. There's no Lord. It's all Lords. That was like their attempt to take it in this new 3D space. And it was kind of okay, but it wasn't great. And I feel like right under their nose, From Software went that direction and made these games for them. And they're just not called Castlevania games.
You boil down the elements of Castlevania and you essentially get Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Like big labyrinthian place full of difficult monsters, weird, obscure rules that aren't always fully explained to you. I mean, I remember
I have a whip.
BS you had to do in Simon's Quest, where you had to just throw holy water at the ground to find out which floors were invisible and you could fall through and which ones you had to jump over. Like all that stuff is like embedded in Dark Souls DNA. Yeah. And it really feels like you could call that game Castlevania and everybody would go, "Oh wow, look at that! They made a crazy."
If they were more obscure, if From Software was more obscure, and they were making, these games that everyone loved, but they were kind of quietly doing it the way it was before this giant mainstream success of Elden Ring, you could almost see somebody like Konami, if they were less pachinko these days, I guess, but Konami coming up to them and saying, "Yeah, we're going to hire you as the studio to make our next Castlevania," and it would probably be great. I still think that would be cool if they could somehow pull that off for a future game, but
it's not like they're also like too edgy for something like that either.
You're right.
Like it is grimdark, but they're it's nothing that we wouldn't get from a game like that, because I guess that would be one of the things, would just be the cultural difference. Maybe if something was, if a company was, you're not going to get the Doom Eternal guys to work for a company that still looks at it as family entertainment, even if it's horror.
Yeah.
But I think Castlevania is needs that. It's a horror genre, right? It's got Dracula and blood. And,
it needs to be dark like that. And it can be anime, that's fine, but make it nice and dark. I'm looking at the 360 version of Lords of Shadow. They were trying at this time not to compete with other adventure games as much as they were trying to compete with God of War at the time.
Yeah, it's got a very God of War look and feel to it.
Yeah, and the boss fights, you climb the second stage, you climb up on top of a guy and God of War style and do some quick time events and things like that. I mean, they were definitely chasing that God of War money, I guess. I think they could have. I don't know. They can still reinvent themselves. I'd love to see what the future of this franchise is, and maybe it's more like Metroid, where they go back to 2D roots, a beautiful 3D game but 2D play. And do like Dread, but do a new Castlevania in that vein. I'd play that.
I mean, it makes sense for them to have chased God of War. I mean, the thing is games like Elden Ring and Dark Souls and all of that don't make sense on paper, even when talked about. And it's been something that's been very funny to watch video game developers talk about their experiences with Elden Ring, because It's like kind of one of those like self-owned sort of things. You've got these developers coming out like talking about how ugly and awful and how bad systems are and stuff, and yet here's Elden Ring doing extraordinarily well, both critically and sales wise.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a real testament to, sometimes things are greater than the sum of its parts. Like something doesn't have to have a perfect inventory or user interface, or doesn't have to be overly tutorialized on how to do things or track quests well to be successful. Sometimes a game just has to do what it sets out to do well and be fun to be successful.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes.
Yeah, I agree. Well, good luck, Konami.
They have everything they need to make a good new Castlevania game.
I agree.
Just except,
Would you? I mean,
the one other aspect, and again, even Dark Souls, I think would benefit from more of this. But Dark Souls has really good labyrinths. I would say Metroid Dread even lacks in the labyrinth because of the escalated cost of developing fancy ass levels.
Yeah.
In the old school times, you had like all these blocks, so people would make mazes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And while there's hidden stuff like Stormvale, I haven't experienced anything I think that's as good as Stormvale, which is a bit disappointing in terms of it being a maze. But mazes are a game. And I feel like once graphics got really good, it got really expensive to make meaningful mazes because that's a lot of real estate to make feel unique and different. But people like mazes. I like mazes.
Yeah.
And Metroidvanias are mazes, So I feel like even the Metroidvania genre in the 3D space for games like that have work to do. And I think Elden Ring is like the best example so far of a game in the 3D genre giving you a maze.
Yeah. I
mean, and mazes, you don't want hits. You don't want checkpoints. It's a maze.
Right.
You want to find your own way through the maze.
Right. And you make a maze not just confusing and, samey. You want to make it tackleable by by the player. You want to be able to make it so it's like, all right, well, this looks daunting, but I'm going to get my head around it. And good thing I found these rooms because now I got this weapon I didn't have before. So now I'm motivated to do more maze
like
solving.
You might put a cool reward at the end of a dead end, so the dead end just doesn't feel like a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
And that's meaningful game mechanics. But also it's fun. Like I realize you can ruin any game by looking it up on Google. But it's fun to be like, okay, I've been down this hallway. Let me put a little mark here to mark off. I checked this part of the maze. And then what's even fun is you're like, oh, there's a place at this dead end that I actually can progress further because I got this item that clears, boogers off the wall.
Yeah. By the way, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to add I'm a little surprised how good this looks.
It looks great. It's all in the gameplay, I'm imagining.
Yeah, and it's a 360 game, which those can still look good, but I don't remember it looking this good. Weird. Anyway, there you go, Castlevania. We also went deep into the 2D history of Castlevania on Play Retro, so if anyone is interested in that, check that out. That's on the website as well. Finally, and I'll be quick about this, I kicked open Blasphemous again because I was also trying to play Castlevania likes, not just Metroidvanias, but ones that were a little more on the Vania side. Dark, grimdark, like Bo always says, dark fantasy stuff.
I thought of Rasputin's penis when you said veiny side.
Veiny. Yeah, the veiny.
You play games more on the veiny side.
Metroid veiny.
Metroid veiny side.
It's Blasphemous is an amazing one of these, and if you haven't played it, you should put it on some list to eventually get to. It is traditional side-scrolling, relatively new game, came out just a couple of years ago. The team built a 2D game that is very gothic, very... I don't even know what to... It's like there's obviously religious overtones in it in terms of like the dark side of, self-flagellation, and the sword must cut me. Your blood will mix with the demon's blood, and like a lot of that stuff. He wears a big giant spiky helmet that hurts when you wear it, and so he's always being reminded how lowly he is, and a lot of when you die, it's your excommunication, not your death. This sort of stuff, and I don't mean it's like straight up Christianity. I just mean it's like that dark Catholicism stuff. That's like if you really want to get into the lore of religion, it's hellfire, brimstone, demons, all that.
Yeah.
Beautiful game, beautifully animated, difficult. I won't say hard as nails, but hard. It has a Dark Souls thing where when you're fighting and you die and you go back to your save point, it's all very Metroidvania until you go back to where your body was, and now you recollect your lost, I forgot what they were called, your lost something, but it's like Souls. So it works like that. So they've integrated some of that stuff. But if you're looking for like, really beautifully animated 2D great pixel art, modern game, this game is rad. Blasphemous is really good.
Yeah, I re-wishlisted it. I took it off, but I'm like, why did I take it off?
Oh, you should, you should leave that on there. When that goes on sale or something, I got really hooked on it this last week.
There's a giant infant who's blindfolded and the infant's eyes are bleeding and it's being held up by a mummy.
Yeah, see? Weird shit like that.
It's a boss.
It's one of the darkest, like trippiest, like that kind of stuff in it, and it's very good. I like it. Okay, that's what I played. Good times this week. Hey, John, it says here you finished Elden Ring. I'd like to know what that means. Tell me what that means.
I beat Elden Ring.
Okay.
I got to the final boss and I killed it after a lot of tries.
Yeah.
I did it.
Did you have any help?
I have a question for you about that. Did you find everything? Did you because I don't know how much time you had to play it versus me, but did you find everything, or did you be like at one point, it's 90 hours, time to go to the end game?
I definitely did not, because one of the things I'll say, and again, a credit to this game, is I beat the game. I felt good about where I ended it. I watched Bo stream it, and I watched him run around in armor I never got and fight like 3 bosses back to back that I never faced and be in a place that I don't think I ever went to. And I was like, oh shit, this game's really big. I clearly missed a lot.
Yeah,
and it's kind of insane how big this game is. But I think for me, I kind of knew once I got kind of a rough idea how big of scope the game was, that I'm not going to beat everything. I had some things that I knew I wanted to do. I had some things I knew I wanted to see. I had been carrying around this like right half to a secret medallion. I was like, okay, well, I want to complete that. And, when all my weapons turned to garbage, I was like, okay, well, I want to find new weapons that I really like. And so I had some personal goals, but eventually it just got to a point where any weapon I picked up, I was like, I don't really care. They were all maxed out as far as upgrades go. I was grinding levels at a certain point because I was having such a hard time with the final boss, which really wasn't honestly helping me very much with the final boss. Like, you can only grind so much. Eventually you are going to have to get at least a little good. Like, it can get you a cushion, but at some point you have to learn to dodge an attack or two.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it came down to. But yeah, eventually I was just like, you know what? I feel good about it. I'm going to just practice on this final boss. And that practice eventually turned into a win. And then the game basically gives you the choice. Hey, do you want to keep exploring, or do you want to start over and kind of new game plus it, where you start at the level you finished with all the items you've collected and put you right back at the start of the story. So I was like, oh, well, that's cool. And that gives me a chance to go in and maybe appreciate the lore a little bit more. I kind of understood it better. The game does have multiple endings. I've heard around 7 different endings, depending on what you decide to do.
I didn't know that.
Whose quests you decide to follow and what you decide to do at the end. So it's a big open game, lots to do. There was a part of me that was, I'm happy, I'm done. This game has consumed a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of focus. I'm done with it. Mm-hmm. But if I'm being honest, I've also gone back to it like 3 or 4 times since finishing it and just kept playing more. So
it's fun. It's fun. This fighting system's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but the reason I asked that, John, was because I think my save file might be up to 150 hours at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
And I've only downed, the Stormvale bosses, whether you want to count that as 1 or 2, Margit and Godric, and Renala. And I finished the Ranni quest, I think. I don't know if she shows up later or not, or what the deal is. I think she's the way Godfrey talks about her, it's like we don't have to hunt her because she gave it up willingly or something. So I don't know where I am. And I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, this game is a curse. I'm still playing. Like, how is it another 100 hours? Like, and I'm being pretty OCD about charting all the territory, finding all the places, and then going to all of them. I have more items than I know what to do with.
Yeah,
And I'm starting to drown in options a little bit, I guess. And I still want to keep playing it. I don't necessarily want it to be over, but there's part of me that's like, am I going to reach a fatigue point and go, let's finish this game? let's get
I
get out
just
of here.
checked my time. I'm at 147 hours, basically 148.
Is that on New Game Plus as well, or just?
That's just what my Steam profile lists as my playtime.
Oh, okay. So it would include you did some New Game Plus at all?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you just gotta, I'd say just find what you're happy with. I mean, if you're like me, and I think you are to a degree, you're not super invested in the lore on your first go through. The lore is so like deep in this game that it's really hard to even kind of understand what's going on and who's who. Not to mention everybody has the same damn name in this game. It's like, here's Margit and Margot and Greena and
Magoo.
Well, yeah, like it's confusing. Like, did you finish the Fia stuff?
I think. I don't know. Like,
yeah, like Fia at one point. So did you ever go to the Hallig Undertree?
Yeah, I did, and I fought her champions.
Yeah. So, okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Then
So I don't know if there's more.
Again. Yeah.
But at one point she's sitting there and she's like, "Oh, do you have such a campaign against those who live in death?" And I'm like, lady, I had no idea what's going on. Why are you asking me? I have no idea what the signs are. Like, you threw some champions at me. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight your bosses in the first. Like, what are you doing? So I was like, let's hug. And so she hugs me, and I put my chest in her bosom and got a buff and debuff as usual.
Yeah.
And we're, I guess, friends again. She's gonna go. She said she's gonna go have sex with I don't know, Roderick or something. I don't know.
It's one of the R's. Yeah, there's Roderick and
she's like, I'm now
and Redia,
I'm now going to lay with Roderick. And I'm like, all right, great that friends can share. Wow. I still have no idea.
On the screen right now, we got Roger. I mean, like, everybody has the same goddamn name in this game. And sometimes they're different names for the same person. And sometimes they're the same. They're two different people in one body. This game is not easy to follow. The lore is crazy deep. I just played the game as somebody that agrees to everything. They're like, hey, you want to find who this dagger belonged to? I'm like, yeah, I do. And then someone was like, did they ask you to find who that dagger belonged to? I'm like, yeah, they did. They're like, do you want to just give it to me instead? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And like, I just agree to everything. Like, I don't really know.
Do you want to poison this lady? It's like, okay. And then, do you have poison? Are you going to poison that lady?
Yes, I am.
And you're like, yeah. Can you just give it to me instead of poisoning her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I play it like a yes man. I just say yes to everything.
Like, sure, I don't care. Where the hell am I? How about that? Like,
yeah. It seems crazy deep. And hearing you say that, John, is somebody I admire for how well you follow story and lore.
Yeah.
And to hear you say that says a lot.
I've watched a lot of videos after beating it. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's go deep on this. Yeah. And like, it doesn't get easier. You can have someone sit down and talk to you like a child and be like, here's what the war was. Here's what broke the Elden Ring. The endings are basically choosing which parts of the Elden Ring to restore. Da, 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 da. Like, they can explain it all to you. And you're like, I don't understand. I don't know what you've told me. I still don't really get it.
Chat room wants to know if there's a pacifist path through this game, because a lot of games will have like a way you never have to kill anything to beat it. This doesn't seem like that kind of game.
No,
there's no non-lethal weapons that I've found.
Yeah.
I don't know how you level without getting runes.
Yeah, and you only get runes from death.
Even if you do a pacifist accept bosses kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't finished it, so I can't really comment. But
I mean, you could probably, if you're going to allow yourself to kill bosses, then sure. But you're killing people in this game.
Yeah.
Like, there's no getting around it. You're going to kill somebody.
Yeah, I would watch that.
Kill. Who knows? Like, is death even mean what it means in the real?
Oh yeah, I mean, technically, if my understanding of the lore, and it probably isn't, is correct. Like, death doesn't matter. Everybody's immortal right now anyway, but it's it's just insane. The
lane
lore to this game is
between
crazy.
sort of implies that you're either in heaven or hell, or a purgatory between both, or some amalgam of both. But you really get the feeling that I'm in the afterlife of some kind. Like nothing makes sense. Like, but it's kind of like a dream instead of like, you know, the pearly gates, Robin Williams style or something like that. You know.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's nuts, but I loved it, and I've loved kind of learning about the lore after the fact and learning about these characters, and like, you know, here's a really cool piece of art of two bosses that I really liked fighting each other. Like, that's cool. But it's deep.
My daughter will probably never play this game, but she wants to get the art book from it, which I think
the art is amazing in this game.
It's incredible.
Like the creature design and like the stuff that's in there. Like there's a boss in there who's this big general, and he is massive. Like he's like 10 stories tall, hulking behemoth of a guy, and he's riding around on a normal sized horse.
Oh, you're talking about Radon?
Yeah.
I fought Radon.
Yeah.
And there's also meteors in that thing too, and the meteors are pretty awesome.
Yeah, and at one point he just launches himself into space and then comes down in a giant hulking like meteoric blast into the earth. Like, it's insane, but like apparently he has lore about this person who is he just started to grow. Like his body started to amorphously grow extra large and get bigger and bigger, but his favorite thing in life was riding his horse. So he learned how to manipulate gravity so that he could remove the weight of his body so that he could continue to ride his horse for all time. As a result, he's this hulking behemoth that moves extremely quickly because he technically has no mass. Yeah. He doesn't weigh anything. And that's why he has gravity powers, and that's why he can throw meteors and rocks, and that's why he can hold stars in the sky and all these crazy things. Like, the lore is there, and it's pretty interesting, but it's like 8 layers deep. You got to read item.
Meanwhile, you got a fat roll for carrying more than 2 items, and you're the least agile thing in creation. Yeah. Gotta hate that. If I had one grievance, it's the damn endurance mechanic or encumbrance mechanic in this game.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
Not that it's there, that I've leveled it to like 43, and it still feels like I'm at level 2. Like, I have 50 levels of points. I can't wear plate mail and do hammer now. Like, I've sacrificed all my other upgrades just so I can carry. It's all you get is carry shit and stamina, and you get like 1 point at a time. And I still can't wear a full plate mail. Like, meanwhile, the mage gets everything they want. They don't have to deal with encumbrance because they're good. But if you want to be a fightery guy, you're just like I get that it requires some levels. Sure. I just feel like I've paid my price. I'm like a level 130 something. Like, I played 150 hours. Let me wear my shit. Like,
you gotta go. You gotta go do New Game Plus. That's how you're gonna get your revenge. That's how
I don't know if I'll ever finish. It might be 2023 by the time I get through this game.
Bo's gonna do everything. It might be. Game's insanely.
I think I'm remembering why I don't like open world games, because I feel like I have to lift up every rock when I play them, and I just don't have time. Who got time for that?
No. I mean, I like it because I've certainly seen places that I've never seen before. And the funny thing is there would be times where I'd be watching Bo stream, and I knew I was further along in the story than he was, but because I was going back and exploring, and he was doing an in-depth exploration of where he was at the time, we'd be exploring the same area at the same time. Just coincidentally, because I was going back looking for fun things to do, and he was going around the zone.
I'm like, okay, now we're covering the 88th latitude. Now we're going back on the 89th latitude. Now we're doing 90th latitude. Yeah. Like, Liurnia of the Lakes was, oh my god, I did so many passes of those waters to find stuff.
I mean, so many people talked about Patches in this game, and I never saw him. I went and I found his ball bearing eventually.
Did you kill him?
He's just dead. I found him dead.
Oh,
I went into the cave. Enough. Yeah, and he was just gone. And I was like, oh, okay, he's dead. For me, I don't get to interact with him.
Patches is at the Volcano Manor now.
Oh, does he go to the Volcano Manor?
Yeah, I did one of his letters for him.
Oh, he gives you letters, man. I like letters
him.
For the Volcano Manor. That place is great.
Yeah, letters are pretty cool, actually. It's a PvP. AI PvP missions in the story.
Nice.
You get an awesome set of armor from doing it too at the end.
So
I don't think I've gotten that armor set yet.
So
John, Rodan armor set is the one I rock. He's like,
well, I mean, it's the Rodan armor as far as like if you can wear it without going into fat roll territory, it's about as good as you can get.
I got a tower shield and a hammer. The problem is I want to also equip the pizza cutter.
Yeah,
pizza cutter is great for certain enemies. It's this giant.
Oh, I've seen it. It's cutter. Awesome. Yeah,
I think I have a clip. If you go to where I put my games, my clip I think will take you to me using the pizza cutter.
I'm gonna go look.
Pizza cutter is great.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find that right now. You're not Gorath anymore, or are you? What are you now?
Bo Schwartz. Oh no, there's a link in the show notes.
Oh,
it's time stamped and everything. It should take you right to it.
Okay, I'm gonna go click
that. But we'll just cover my portion with Elden Ring along with John's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you basically covered it. I'm like, I've done half of Caelid Wilds. I've done half of Altus Plateau. I've done half of Volcano Manor because it's all kind of just hitting at the same time, and there's like hard sections in each one, so I'm just like, I feel like I'm all over the place, and I'm just trying to finish one of the zones, and I have no idea where the bosses are. But I do end up going back too. I just got Sellen's quest after 150 hours, and I'm just like, is this the first zone? All right, I'm gonna cut that plant open, rip him a new hole.
This thing's awesome. Look at this thing. How is it? Is it run on magic or what's the?
Yeah, it's burning FP, but it burns it pretty slow, so like it's not too bad.
Okay.
You see him cutting the grass there.
Yeah. Look at you doing keeping things nice and clean out there in the forest. It's fantastic. That's great. The pizza cutter. Oh, did you guys ever? Okay, you saw the news about how some walls, if you hit them enough times, you can get in there in secret areas. Did either of you do that?
I found the wall that was supposedly the wall, and it didn't break for me. I spent a lot of time hitting it.
Well, it might have already been hot fixed at this point, maybe. And it's in Volcano Manor, right? So it just takes you, from the images I saw, it looks like it takes you to a room where NPCs are hanging out that you can get to no problem anyways. Like it's
not a big.
I thought it was a big secret.
Like, it's not like they actually hit a secret. It's like a bug, and because if it was intentional, it's the stupidest secret ever. But because if you put Elden Ring in your article on a gaming site, you're guaranteed to make $1 million that day. People saw this on Reddit, and then everyone's like, "Look at what's happening in Elden Ring!" Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, considering everybody's propensity to say "secret wall ahead" in front of literally everything in that game, I'm sure there is a future where that message just exists in front of every piece of geometry in the game.
Yeah.
The idea that maybe you might need to hit it more than once does reframe that in a pretty alarming way. But it's just that one area, and it's useless. But oh my gosh, if that was true, like universally true in the game, that'd be it. I'd be done.
Yeah,
I can't go around hitting walls 50 times.
Oh, I'm not doing that shit. No way.
I can't.
Bad enough I have to hit it once.
When everybody was saying, "Oh, this is so Dark Souls of them to make you do that," and knowing now it's just a bug, and it's not like an actual secret area. There are areas that were cut off. Like there's this fabled underwear in the game that is not actually intended for you to get, but they left in the game in a place you have to no clip through. Like you have to mod the game or hack the game to get to a no clip area, and then these magical underwear is still in the game. Apparently, I don't know if they patched. I think they patched that out, but there was secret underwear in the game. That also was not intentional. Oh, I want that to then it becomes part of your DNA, and now you can float all the time. That underwear.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, who knows? There'll probably be DLC for this game. Maybe they'll add it back or something in a later patch. The patch they released, I know we complained how it nerfed us, but they added some nice features. Like if you meet an NPC, it marks it on your map for you.
Oh.
Yep.
And I'm like, see, these guys aren't trying to make that hard a game. They're actually they put a feature in that's helpful to the player. Like I think everyone has this idea, you all think Mick Jagger, right? Mick Jagger's such a badass. Really, he's a nice guy. It's like you all think From Software, and they're all these people are like, From Software's this, and it's just like it's more lore. The lore has superseded probably the reality, which is
Yeah, I agree with that. That's got and it permeates, and it also helps them sell copies. I think that lore or that reputation
I mean,
is a thing.
Mick Jagger's not going to go around and say like I'm a lovely husband and I do some gardening, take care. You're 80 years old, you're still doing drugs and partying all night. I'll buy your album.
Yeah,
like lore does a lot to like influence us. Like, we don't like admitting it, but it's true.
Yeah, it is true. You're right. We like a story, is what we like.
Mm-hmm. Myth.
All right, John, you dug a little more into Tunic. It says here you're not sure if you like that game or not.
I'm having a hard time with it because I so love most of what's there. Like the art, the style. I immediately somehow found the friggin' transmog room where I can change how my fox looks.
Oh, I found that too. I like that. You go behind the thing and come out the other side and you're different.
Yeah. Like, what a cool, charming thing. Like, I love the art style. I love the way the instruction manual looks. I love the concept of the game. I love so much about the game. It's like 90% of it is something that I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
And that 10% is just, there's something about the gameplay that I don't like. And I can't nail what it is exactly, but I hate playing the game. And it could be an issue of going between Elden Ring and it. Not that they're like comparable in gameplay,
right,
but like the amount of times I've accidentally opened up the menu and then remapped my attack button and then thrown all my dynamite at an enemy and then gone shit and then gotten killed while I'm trying to remap my sword to to a button. Like, that's happened a bunch. There's still something about like the attack and roll that just doesn't feel good to me. I did get the shield, and somebody had told me like, hey, the gameplay feels a lot better once you get the shield.
Yeah.
It does, but not a lot. Like, it's never felt right. And one thing I did do is I turned off stamina as a system. I went into accessibility and I just said, you know what? I don't want to deal with stamina anymore.
Yeah.
And it made that game a lot better, but I haven't put a lot of time in it since I did it.
Yeah.
But it did help. So that might have been a part of it. But I may ultimately just put this on let me just win the game mode.
Yeah.
Because
or why don't you go and wait for patch mode? Maybe
they'll I mean, it's a single developer, one dude and his wife. Maybe they'll
yeah.
I mean, that's why you would sort of say though, like the Valheim people were like, we were surprised at the success and amount of feedback we got, and they've been focusing on changes just to tighten gameplay. So I don't know the developer, but maybe, that might be something where it's like a lot of people say he's not like a big company that's like, sorry, we got to move on. He probably takes a lot of pride in the game, and maybe he'll spend some time.
But I mean, I don't know if it's like lots of people think this or if it's I think this, that's the thing that's hard to measure is by all accounts. Like, I think people generally really like this
Scott,
game.
you've played it, right?
Yeah, I'm playing it as well. I like it a lot. Cool. I think the gameplay, I think I understand where John's coming from. Part of it is going between multiple games and those systems really fiddle with you. I was having this problem between Elden Ring and Forbidden West because they're both, well, at least the way I was playing in Elden Ring, very melee focused and some shared key or controller setups, but things that you're used to using on one is totally different on the other, and I would F that up a lot, and it was frustrating because it was just like, oh, my muscle memory is all confused right now. I had confused muscle memory, and maybe some of that could be it. But also the combat's not all that. I mean, I won't say it's bad, but it's not like, ooh, fancy combat in Tunic. It's not. It's just target stuff, dodge when they come at you, try to time that stuff right, and then stab when you can. And it's fine. It gets the job done, but I think that it's nothing like, I mean, Elden Ring is like this beautiful, orchestrated, amazing, can't interrupt animation sort of magical, beautiful combat, and this just isn't that. It's a much more basic thing. And not that basic can't work, and maybe even sometimes work better. Like in a 2D game, I don't think it would be complaining about this because there's something about a 2D game using this kind of combat that works really well. But I think I know what John's talking about. It's not bothering me as much, but I get it. There's something. And it might be
when I get to a place where I devote all that time to Tunic, maybe I will enjoy the way it plays a little bit more. Because I do think it could just be whiplash from switching between games that feel very, very different. But I like so much of that game that I wanna stick with it because I think it's just a cool world. And from like just again the way it feels just walking through the grass, and it all looks real like foamy and stuff. Like everything about that game is just charming and nice and pretty, and I really, really enjoy it. I just wish I liked playing it a little bit more, which hasn't happened yet because I play it for a little bit and then I inevitably go, this is frustrating. I'm just gonna turn it off. And instead, I think I want to be in like Scott's headspace with like Kirby, right? Where he's just like, it's just a charming experience across the board. Instead, I feel like I'm mostly charmed, but then there's just this one thing that is making me irrationally angry, and it makes me just rage quit and go, yeah, screw it. I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that way with certain games. The Kirby thing is just such a joy to play. I actually find myself wishing that game played like the Kirby game. Totally different game, but you still, when you get into a groove and it just feels like you are part of that world and you're moving in the way you mean to, and it's got rhythm and all of that, which I know Elden Ring, you can get a rhythm going. I think that Tunic, maybe if in a vacuum it's got its own rhythm and we'd be used to it, but when we're playing all these other games, I think it just kind of F's with our head. But I'll be curious to see what you do. Now, you're playing SteamWorld Dig 1 or 2?
1,
okay,
because I got it. So I got the collection, the SteamWorld collection, where I got, like 4 games or whatever it was. And I had heard such good things about SteamWorld Dig 2 that I was like, should that be where I start? And then I was like, no, I better start at the beginning. Like, let's get an appreciation for what's going on here.
Sure.
So I started with SteamWorld 1, and I was like, I'll do a courtesy little bit of time in this, and then I'll jump over into 2 and see what's really happening there.
Yeah.
And then I loved my time in 1 so much that it's all I've played. I haven't jumped into anything.
1 is very good. 2 is like a huge jump, even better, but there's nothing wrong with 1. 1 is a great game.
Yeah. I'm having a really good time with it. It's just really chill.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I wish Tunic was, to a degree, where it's like it's this whole world and feel, and I just kind of zone out and lose myself to it, where it's just like, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna dig some holes, I'm not gonna worry about a lot. Yeah, there are obstacles and stuff, but like overall it's like first world problems, the game. Like, okay, there was a guy with TNT and that kind of ruined my day a little bit, but not too much. It's not like a boss in Elden Ring, or it's not like having to do a corpse run in Tunic or anything like that. Like, it just was a mild inconvenience. So it's just such a chill experience. I really love that game. I love the art. My wife keeps looking over while I play it. She just goes, I love the way that game looks.
Yeah,
the game just looks so good.
It's a cool look.
Like 100% right. Like, the look to the game is just really incredible. I love the way the SteamWorld games.
You'll love 2. You'll love 2 even more because it just, all those things you just said that you like, they all just get bumped up a level. In the second one, they're both Metroidvanias in their own weird way. The second one even more so. But it's crazy to play a game where the Vania part is going down. You're trying to get down and get as low as you can get, and that second game really takes it to the next level. I'm so excited you're playing these. And I'm telling you, once you get around to it, when you play SteamWorld Heist, that's the XCOM like. Yeah. You're going to love that. It's great. I love that.
Yeah. So I have those to look forward to, because I got SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Dig 2, SteamWorld Heist, and SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamesh. And I want to play all of them because those games just seem like really solid. Like, maybe not blockbuster in scale, but just like video games, where it's just a fun distraction and just a fun way to spend time.
They're really well made. They're working on the next SteamWorld universe game right now. It's their first foray into 3D. I have no idea what that'll mean or what it's going to be, but I can't wait to find out because those guys are rad. I love those guys. All right. Very nice. Bo, Tiny Tina's Wonder Chode. Tell me about this game.
Yeah, well, all right. And we've got some gameplay footage there linked if you'd like to show that.
I sure would.
Yes, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So it launched early yesterday on PC. And since we weren't doing core, I actually had a new game to share on the show this week. So I got about 4 to 6 hours in. It's good. Just TLDR right up front. It's a Borderlands game. It plays like a Borderlands game. If you play the Tiny Tina DLC on Borderlands 2, you know exactly what to expect. But basically, there's an in-fiction D&D game called Badass and Bunkers, or Bunkers and Badasses. And badasses are the elite nomenclature for the bosses in that game. This has some differences, some divergence from the Borderlands experience. One is you make your own characters.
Oh.
There's an okay character creator, but you can kind of do fun things like give yourself, there's a turn off reasonable sliders, and then you have these crazy sliders where you give yourself giant ears and eyeballs and just make an absolute mess. It also has excellent voice options. There's 4 men and 4 women voices, and one of them sounds a little like Saltspire. It's not the same voice actor, but it's pretty close, and that's the one I'm playing. It's pretty good. You know, you go, hey, I've got spells I'll cast, and it's really just evokes that Saltspire energy.
Yep.
You know, overall, the art and presentation is really good. It sort of has that empty feel that Borderlands games sometimes has, but in terms of the shooter, the mechanics so far have been very competent and good and fun. I could see this being fun with friends. So how does it diverge from the Borderlands formula? One, there's random encounters, which kind of works like, you know, in Link 2 when you're walking around on the map and then you have to like fight your way out of a situation.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. It's like you end up in this random encounter, you got to fill the kill bar and you're done the random encounter. And it's a pleasure to do. Because the enemies here aren't the Borderlands guys who scream crazy things. They're skeletons that are going at you. And it's like, oh, you haven't got a ghost of a chance. And they're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. I'll eat your brains. No, I don't eat brains. I'm a skeleton. And like, it's over the top in that way, but it just because it's D&D, it's like way more charming, right?
Yeah.
So there's random encounters. There's a classic Final Fantasy overworld map where you're just this guy on a board and you walk around and visit places, and that works really well because it's, you know, very artfully designed. So the overworld map is actually really great. I almost would want this for all Borderlands games in a kind of way because their levels are kind of instancy, you know, like you're in traveling around a whole bunch has never been a great part of Borderlands, so it's nice just to skip all that with the overworld map.
I'll bet.
Finally, the voice acting in this. We
I've
got
heard
Will Arnett as the big bad guy.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but like raves about.
So Job is the bad guy, and he's great. He's full in it. This is maximum effort kind of thing from Will Arnett. Andy Samberg is Andy Samberg as Valentine. It's good. It's, you know, if you wanted a bit of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a bit of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Wanda Sykes is it. Yeah, she always giving Larry shit.
Yeah.
A bit of Curb Your Enthusiasm because Wanda Sykes is the robot. A bit of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a bit of Arrested Development all mixed into a weird game within a game D&D thing. And so far, I've been chuckling. You know, this is definitely, I want to have friends playing. I think it'd be funnier to have a laugh with friends, even when the jokes are bad. Like some of the jokes are, you know, dad level puns, but you're still like, they put effort into it, right? You know, like there's evil bards in this cave that died and came back, and they know the power of spoken word. It's just like, you know, you get a little chuckle, like, yeah, spoken word, they're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
So there's some pretty good jokes in this one actually. And yep, it's over to the top in the way Borderlands is. You know, your friendly queen of your kingdom is Queen Butt Stallion, and so whether you like Butt Stallion or think it's low effort shit, it's you know, that'll vary. But like the thing is, the whole game is that, so it's not like you're just getting these weird jokes inside of a game that's trying to be serious. The whole game is trying not to be serious. On the overworld map, sometimes there'll be Cheetos and popcorn spilled over the board that you know.
Oh, because nerds playing D&D eat those things. They're playing.
Well,
off
Tiny
those
Tina, you know, Wanda Sykes is like, Tina, you know, you got a Cheeto on the board, get it off. She's like, that's not a Cheeto, that's a meteorite, and it's got a lock pad on it. You got to find your way around. It's like she does DM bullshit where she's like hand waving. Like, there's one level where like Wanda Sykes is like, you're just making this up just now, and she's like, no, I'm not. You know, and it's like, it's kind of like a wink to D&D when sometimes the DM doesn't come super prepared. And
Sure.
You can tell he's pulling it out of his ass.
Yeah.
So there's like these D&D in jokes that are part of the humor as well. That you're like, oh yeah, I know. You know, it feels like a D&D session as much as it, you know, because they break character, fourth wall all the time, and
Sure.
just talk about their personal things. So the writing is pretty good so far. So I'm like, I want to keep playing it. Like tonight, I'm like, I can't wait to play this game, but at the same time, I kind of want to wait for friends to play it with. It just would probably be a better experience with friends.
Yeah, you're kind of convincing me to check it out. Yeah. I was probably not. I don't know if I was going to skip it, but I wasn't going to jump right out and do it. But I don't know.
The shooting's great. Like, and some of the other innovations. All the guns are magic versions of guns. So yes, you have guns, but you'll have this shotgun with a pot of crystals in it. And it just, that's your ammo is a pot of crystals in the top of the thing. You've got like this submachine gun that shoots all these like ice pellets. And you have magic instead of grenades, you have magic spells. Yeah. And they do all kinds of shit like shielding up or throwing like lasers and doing all kinds of zany stuff that Borderlands is a little more mundane because it's all just gun stuff.
Sure.
They kind of over the top with all the fun thing. And you have abilities. So the class names are great, by the way. John's favorite class, the rogue, is in this, but it's called the Stabomancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah, you're into that.
Great take.
Yeah.
I play the wizard. I chose wizard, and he's the spell shot. So it's all about pistols and spells. I can shoot 2 spells, and it's got a pretty good class system. Interesting. I got polymorph, and there's a lich or necromancery lich guy. I can't remember what he's called. I don't remember the other ones. There's a berserker. And there's a paladin, and there's a rangery guy too. So the classes are pretty cool, and you can dual class later on in the game. I kind of love this game, actually. I'm not going to lie. Like, my first impression was really, really strong. Mainly because you get to make your own characters, and they're fully voiced. So it's like a little Divinity Original Sin, and a little Diablo, and a little of the Borderlands things. Like, I had a typical ass Borderlands quest where there's some woman who's in love with another woman, and the first woman hires you to kill the goblins in her yard, and then you find out the second woman's in love with the first woman and put the goblins there to make her fall in love with her. So you help her hunt down another you have to get goblin underwear to attract a goblin, and then a lady goblin comes, and then you're like, sweet, the lady goblin's here, now go get the woman, and she'll fall madly in love with me. And then she comes, and she's like, I'm ready to fall in love with you, this is great. And she's like, sorry, I fell in love with the goblin. And then her and the goblin go off to have sex, and you're like, this is a Borderlands level quest. You're just like, why did I do this? Like,
it sounds like Borderlands.
And everyone's like talks all dumb. Like one guy's like, "You poor, just don't talk to me," and the other one's like, "I'm in love with that girl. I'll get her a goblin, and we'll be together forever."
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing. So if you don't like that part of Borderlands, well, it's in here. But overall, it's fun to. I found it a lot of fun to shoot the bad guys so far.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. I don't know. I was super on the fence on it, but you.
I would much rather play with some people. Like honestly, in this game. Also, it has end game like Chaos Dungeons or something like that. So there's a bit of activity I think to do later. It remains to be seen if it has a lot of life or interest after. But it's a fun experience. The Wheel or Net's great. Like it's just overall like a worthwhile package, even if the cell shaded stuff sometimes feels a little played out. I find their worlds look empty sometimes. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like there's a lot of space between NPCs and a lot of like, even though it's full of graphics, like I don't know if it's a lack of foliage. Like Witcher is empty, but there's lots of pretty stuff to look at. Same with Dark Soul or Elden Ring. Same with Tsushima probably. But for some reason it feels so empty because I don't think they do a lot of foliage, and it just feels like big geometry space sometimes. But overall, the game is it's a solid 9 for me. It's I think it's on par with Borderlands 2 for how much fun I'm having.
Oh, that's high praise. Okay.
Considering I've played Borderlands 3, I've played pre-sequel for 2 hours, got bored and quit. And this one, I'm like, I think I want to keep playing this one. So this is on par with BL2, I think.
Okay. Yeah, 2 is that's where I loved the series. So I
remember Nicole Spag really loved Borderlands.
She loves Borderlands.
Talk about that all the time she was on
Final Score. Yeah, I think she's also playing. She might be playing this right now. Although I don't know. She works at a school now, so she's been really busy. But seems like this would be her jam. She loves fantasy. She loves Borderlands. What's not to like?
I just know she would tell you about Borderlands 2 all the time, and I'd be like nodding my head along with her, saying, Borderlands 2 is really great, and she's been playing it. And so this is like that level of like, I like this. This tastes good.
That's cool.
This is a good steak.
I'm intrigued. I'm more intrigued than I was. I have to admit, I was a little bit down on it, but what you're talking, and I've heard similar things about the acting and the story. You know, as goofy as it is meant to be, it's actually just better written than 3 was, like by a long shot. So
the jokes land better overall. Like even when they're bad, they're like still like okay, E for effort, good one.
Yeah.
I was just in the clip Scott was showing. They were doing the skin color option, and everything was gray, and instead of gray, it said newbie. And I was like, why does it say newbie? And then I realized, because it's an unpainted figurine.
Yeah, you're the newbie. So Andy Samberg and Wanda Sykes have been there for a while, and you were just picked up, and you're all hiding out in the bunker playing D&D. Yeah. So, and even Will Arnett calls you, hey, newbie, because it's the generic title. They can't voice. They can't call you something. They have to call you something generic when they voice act for the player character. So he calls you newbie all the time. And yes, when you show up, you have an unpainted pewter piece.
Yep.
Like, look at the newbie, and you're like looking around, and you're like, what? Just don't pick on me.
And you're playing this on Epic Store? That's the only place they have it.
Yes. Okay. You want to call out the hypocrite? People who want to play Call Out the Hypocrite, you can leave a voicemail at 1-800-HYPOCRITE. And
it's just like they did with Borderlands 3. Yeah, just like Borderlands 3, they're doing it there first. Steam version is on its way. They don't have a date, but it is coming. So look, you got to play what you got to play. You got a hot new computer. I think it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that store. It's just a store.
There's nothing wrong with it, but you know.
It's a big moment,
I'm still unhappy about having a ton of stores, but I'm just like, I'm part of the rich people now. I got a 12th gen.
It's like I got a computer that can handle it.
I don't give a shit about your multiple store complaints anymore. Sorry, guys, you lost me. PC Master Race. I can run 5,000 storefronts on my system. What are you guys doing?
Yeah,
you've only got 4,999 storefronts. You wuss.
The voice of the underdog has receded into the weeds and is no longer there for you. That's all right.
Now that I'm rich, I don't care about these poor people problems.
All right. Well, there's that. Lots of stuff to talk about, and I'm glad we did. Let's quickly do these emails.
That's a good question.
These are good. I got a short one here to start with. Luke wrote in and says, I have to ask, is it really called doing groceries in Canada? I'm used to buying groceries or shopping for groceries, but I've never done groceries. So Luke heard you say, I was doing groceries, and wants to know if that's the way you would say, I've done.
Is that an unusual thing? Like, I mean, yes, technically you're buying or shopping groceries, but like, you can go do groceries.
We always say buying, or we're
like,
going
if I'm dropping
store.
a deuce, no one's like, are you taking a shit and dropping it on the floor? Like, they realize it's dropping from my anus into the toilet bowl, right?
Oh yeah,
like,
I don't think there's any confusion about what you meant. I think it's just an unusual way of saying it. Yeah.
Nobody here says we're doing groceries.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You sure?
Oh, yeah.
Sure?
Yeah,
positive.
Yeah, nobody says that.
It might be a Canadian thing, because I know I said I'm going to do groceries, and nobody in Canada is like, what the hell is with that thing you're saying? I'm sure I've heard other people say, yeah, I'm going to do some groceries.
Yeah, I never heard.
I guess I'm
going to do grocery shopping, or I have to go do grocery shopping.
There you go.
Like, that would be how.
Yeah, but it's like I mean, I also say like it's time to go do dishes. Do you say it's time to go do dishes? Or you say I'm going to go wash dishes?
Both ways. But do dishes
same
is
thing. Yeah. It's a chore. Dishes are a chore. Groceries
completely agree.
I get that it's unusual for you, but that's the context.
It's like you and saying grade 8 and we saying 8th grade. To me, it's just that difference. It's just a different way of saying it.
Grade 11. You got your grade 11?
Yeah, we never say that. We just say junior year or 8th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, senior year, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you also call out sick, which is just a crime against humanity, but
No, we call in sick. What do you do?
No, we call in sick.
Oh, we do the same. We call in sick.
I thought you call out sick. It's John that called out sick.
I said I called out sick, and it caused an international incident.
I had the UN got involved. It was horrible. Let's not bring that up again.
Yeah, never. We would hope that was
I think us. Call out sick is perfectly acceptable. I'm calling.
You know what? I'm happy for you to
be there.
Yeah. I'm happy for people to say what they'd like to say. It's just it trips you up sometimes when you hear the weird expressions.
The beauty of English.
That's what this guy felt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah. What am I having sex with the groceries? Come on now.
Good. The point, Luke. The thing to Luke to remember is that English is very fluid and weird, and people say them in different ways, and that's cool. We got a nice, we got a language that's versatile. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Jeff wrote in. Said, hello, core crew. Let me preface this by saying I do have a favorable bias in this situation, but I would still like to make a point. All right. In regards to Destiny 2, and he's talking about their refusal to run on a game or on a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Says my first brief point is the only further information they've given about the Steam Deck is that their own in-house is about their own in-house security software. While it is weird and unfortunate, I haven't heard much, if any, complaints from the community at large. But I do enjoy the tinfoil hat, and it gives me a chuckle while I'm working. So thank you. Let me talk about that real quick. It's not a huge deal in the community yet because the community is fine playing where they're playing. But if the Steam Deck takes off and people want to play their favorite Destiny 2 game on the go, you'll start to hear the complaints. We're too early for those complaints, but we'll get there. As for John's bit about the $60, I'm fairly sure it's just poking fun. But it still seems less than a year it still seems like it's less than a year of a subscription to either WoW or Final Fantasy 14. I debated sending this in, but like I said, I have a bias since I have a friend who works there. We'll talk about that paragraph for a second.
Yeah.
John...
So I mean, here's the thing. Jeff is making their point very friendly. So I don't want to go ham because they're having fun. And yes, me saying it always costs $60, there is an element of just having fun. But I also don't think you can make the comparison that every time I think maybe I should try Destiny 2, it being $60 is the same as I'm enjoying this game and will continue to pay $10 or $15 a month to play it. I don't think those are equitable notions because one, you're already like committed on a regular basis and you're paying a subscription for it. The other is like, hey, surprise, $60. I don't live at an income bracket where a surprise $60 is a feasible, like, oh, I just part with that so I can try something on a whim. Like, I believe Destiny 2 is good. Like, I've bought and played Destiny 1 and I thought the shooting was great and I thought the story was ass. I played Destiny 2 and I thought the shooting was great and the story was slightly less ass. Like, now I'm sure that after time they have found a way to make it even better because that's the way it generally goes. I do believe firmly that it shouldn't take multiple expansions into the game for them to go, you know, they really figured it out this time.
Yeah.
This is the second game. Yeah. This is their second attempt at doing this. Why did we have to go through this the first time where it was they put out a game that was a problem and then they put in expansions that made it better? Wouldn't you think by the time we got to Destiny 2, it would launch great because they learned the lessons of 1? Why did Destiny 2 go the same route of, yeah, it was a rough start. They figured it out. How many times do they have to figure it out? What is there to figure out at this point?
Wait, I'm detecting ham. Ham detected.
Oh, ham detected. Uh-oh.
I don't want to pay $60 to find that out. I am sure, look, there's no doubt Destiny 2 is insanely popular with the people that like it. Yeah. And that's fine. I think Destiny 2 is one of the best feeling shooters I've played in a long time. I certainly had my fun with it, but I don't know if I want to pay $60 to see how they've tweaked that model every time I get slightly more interested in Destiny 2. Whereas if they had a monthly subscription that I was just on the hook and paying, I might be willing to part with $10 or $15 a month, even if that ultimately adds up to more money over time. It's not an insane ask to go, hey, you want to spend $15, find out if you like Destiny 2? I'd be like, yeah, I'll spend $15, find out if I still like Destiny 2. Yeah. Whereas somebody's like, hey, you think you might like Destiny 2? And I go, yeah, what's it going to cost me? $60? I'm like, no, I'll go buy Tiny Tina's Wonderland and find out if I like that instead. I already know what I think about Destiny 2. I don't want to spend $60 to find out how much incrementally better it's gotten with this storyline.
I think this is I don't think there's anything wrong with this logic. I hate to tell the listener this, but I actually think that you make a fair point. And
I think their point's fair too. Yeah. Again, to roll it back. You're right. I've spent more money on WoW subs and Final Fantasy 14 than I think probably any Destiny player has buying all their doohickeys and expansions. I sound like an old man. And your Destiny 2 thingamajigs coming in here. with your guns and your glamours and your light systems. But I just think, if you're in on Destiny, you're in on Destiny, and I like it.
Do they still have a free-to-play option?
I just don't know if I like it.
Yeah. So free to play, they
free
do
to play like the non-expansion content.
They do for the I don't know how far and how deep it goes now, but
free on Steam anyways.
Yeah, they still have that.
I mean, that's
Game Pass as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe we don't think of that as much, but the game is, I guess, in theory, free to play.
I also feel like every time I've ever said like, "Oh, it's free to try," someone always comes out and goes, "It is free." But they do the Final Fantasy thing where they go, "It is free," but the game doesn't get really good.
Yeah.
Until you spend $60.
I take it back. I'm looking at the purchases here. So Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, Witch Queen are all separate purchases. So if you try the game and like it, then you're looking at buying. You want to get up to speed. I don't know if you can just buy Witch Queen or not, but it's like 24 for Forsaken, 37 for Beyond Light. Like you probably got to buy all the X packs. A lot of MMOs have upgraded to the whole just buy the latest expansion and you got it all schema.
Yeah.
And I know this is like MMO light because there's no sub fee, but at the same time, this is what kept me off Crusader Kings 2, where it was like there's like 15 X packs, so the actual game cost is $300 if you want all the content or whatever. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So
it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyways, I support John and his ham.
I do too, John. We're behind you all the way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Luke. Luke and Jeff sent emails to talktothecore@gmail.com. You're encouraged to do the same at home if you're just, you got a little burning question you want to get out. We're here to answer it. So send that in, talktothecore@gmail.com. It's going to do it for the show, everybody. I don't think there are any major crazy releases between now and next show, even though, well, I say that. I'm not actually sure. I think we're getting close to the end of the massive game period of February through March. And then I think things slow down a little bit. We start getting closer to E3 or E3-like events. And then it all starts up again. But we'll have plenty to talk about next week.
Sure. That the Arkham thing, the Rocksteady game got pushed.
Oh, yeah, it did get pushed. It is Rocksteady, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Suicide Squad must kill the Justice League. Is that the name?
Or must kill the Justice League. Yes,
something like that. It looks like a thing I'm going to really like once they're done. So I'm fine with them taking whatever time they need. It's fine with me. I think their design
April's looking light, man.
Their King Shark is a badass design. I really like how they're doing it for that game. Just as a side note.
Big one in April is King Arthur Knight's Tale. Interested to see how that turns out.
Oh, the PC XCOM
PC strategy game on Xbox as well. Yeah.
Oh, is that hitting?
I got the Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers edition in April. Also, Lego Skywalker Saga. There's a lot of people excited about that.
Are they? Why are they excited about that one? What's that? Just because they have nostalgia for those Lego games?
It's the big culmination of all the Lego Star Wars games together.
Okay. All right. I'll get it. Look, I don't want to.
I'm sure there's people excited about it somewhere.
Tell me about Massage Orc 2. When's that coming? We got that coming?
I mean, they got to do the full release of Massage Orc 1. It's technically early release. So,
that's true. Yeah, they're not done.
We got to get the first Massage Orc Massage done before we go on to the second.
Fair point. All right. Well, we'll all be here for that. That'll be next time right here on the show. Patreon.com/TMS or TMS. Gosh dang it. Patreon.com/Core Show is the Patreon to use. Hop on over there, become a patron, and do so because you love the show, but also because you get great benefits for doing it. Those are all detailed right over there at Patreon.com/Core Show. Huge thanks to everybody who supports us there. It keeps the show on the air. And I wanted to start doing some video stuff for those people, but we'll talk off air about that. Anyway, frogpants.com/core is the website. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we all have stuff to say. Bo Schwartz, Scott Johnson, John_Jagger, and Core Pod if you're just looking for the show. We record on Thursdays normally at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, right here at frogpants.tv. So join us then. I think that's going to do it. John, a word of wisdom from the recently convalesced John.
Hey, everybody, take care of your Elden Ring. You never know when things are going to turn sour.
Oh, man. The O-ring of Elden's O-ring. Keep it safe. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Bo, anything to add, wisdom-wise to
No,
that?
just,
No.
Try to take it easy on the cafe mochas before you're about to do a show.
Whatever. You were awesome tonight. I think you need to drink a whole gallon of that every night. That's it. That's the show. Thank you all for watching, listening, and hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Between now and next time we see each other, go play something fun, and we'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
I smell it. Death. Feeding me.
I don't know what boss that is. That's some Elden Ring.
Oh,